Man, so since we're already a little outside of our typical genres tonight, talking about The Last of Us, you clicked on this shit. Don't look at me. Actually, do look at me. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
But and Junior,
the moneymaker.
yes, of course. But I want to talk about some discourse I've seen on the internet regarding WrestleMania 41 last weekend.
Okay.
And no, I really don't want to go into like my opinions on the event or like where things are headed or any of that, because if you guys want to hear somebody bitch about wrestling, Jim Cornette has you covered, okay? Like he's much more long-winded than me, and the hate never seems to get to him, you know.
Hate is just passion misdirected.
Also, after watching Fantastic Four last night, I can't really. It's going to be hard for me to just continuously bitch about something.
Yeah,
because that was awful. But I actually want to talk about the Joe Hendry appearance. So for those of you who may not be in the know, Joe Hendry is the champion of TNA, which is like a lower tier professional wrestling company, national, you know, but much lower tier than like your WWE, which everybody's pretty much familiar with. And he made a guest appearance at WrestleMania 41 this past weekend. He's the TNA champion, and he faced Randy Orton, who you would probably have to go several countries away to find somebody who doesn't know who that is.
Yeah.
They may not know anything about him, but they've heard the name.
Yeah, 10-year, 20-plus year veteran in the WWE, multiple-time champion.
Been everywhere.
Yeah,
sold the merch.
Yep. Won all the championships, you know.
Yeah, mainstay.
Yeah.
He's in that same, category as far as fame as like The Undertaker, Stone Cold, that sort of thing. Like, he's up there with the greats. Now, Joe Hendry had a surprise appearance at WrestleMania 41. He answered Orton's challenge, and Orton, they had a 4.5 minute match, and Orton beat him. And the discourse on the internet that I want to speak on is that people think that the TNA championship basically was shit on by this. Now, would it have been better for that championship for them to have a 20-minute knockdown, drag-out match? Yes, absolutely. Would that have worked as well? And did they have time for that? No. They didn't have time. A majority of the people may not even know who Hendry is. He had no build-up coming into this event. It wouldn't have looked good for him to just walk in and go toe-to-toe with Orton, because Hendry is obviously somebody that they want to have come up through NXT and onto the main roster at some point. He's a future prospect, so he can't just come in and go toe-to-toe with Randy Orton. But this kind of idea that somehow they shit on their championship by doing this, to me, to put it in perspective, like, for what we're talking about, right? To put it in perspective for the typical homie, this would be like if Daredevil joins the Avengers and fights Ultron and loses, but lives, and then comes back. The Defenders aren't going to be like, nah, dog, you're out. Like, you suck.
Yeah. You couldn't even beat Ultron.
Yeah, you couldn't even beat Ultron, man. Get out of here. This is like, he went on a stage where more people than have ever seen him before.
Yeah.
Probably times 10 got to put eyes on him. And the fact that he came out there with the championship, was announced on WrestleMania with the championship, arguably more eyes were on that title than have ever been on it in its history.
And I think that's kind of a fact, because, listen, like, in a perfect world, like, would it have been more fitting had it been like a surprise match with AJ Styles?
Right.
I'm sure if you're talking about TNA, alumni or whatever,
He'd had to put the belt up then.
Yeah. And then we have AJ Styles, the new TNA World Champion.
Yeah.
But I do understand where people are coming from when they voice their opinions about being upset that Joe Hendry essentially kind of got squashed. It was an extended squash match.
Yeah.
But if you look at like the exposure that it did give TNA, like, it's still a net positive for them. And if you go back just 5 years ago, when Vince was still in control, TNA would never get this kind of rub from the WWE.
Never even be mentioned.
No, never even be mentioned. And we were just talking about AJ Styles when he first came in, like 8-9 years ago. There was no mention of TNA.
Only one, and that was because Austin doesn't give a shit. So on Stone Cold's podcast, which was on the WWE Network back then, they wasn't on Peacock yet. Stone Cold did bring up TNA and Dixie Carter.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's just because Austin don't give a shit, man.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Yeah. Speaking of what they're going to do with Austin, that's another story.
But
I just think that like the whole Joe Hendry situation, like I've heard him speak on it.
Yeah.
You may have seen the clip even, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean, he brought up some really good points. Like it did nothing but boost his stock. And it put eyes, like you said, not only on him, but on that TNA World title. And I mean, that's going to do nothing but good for, for TNA in the long run. And in the meantime, I don't know if you guys have also seen this, but Joe Hendry, he was also post WrestleMania, so I guess within the past day or two, featured on NXT.
Yep.
So, I mean, Joe Hendry know where he wants to be.
Yeah, as soon as his contract with TNA is up, he's out of there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for them, it makes sense to get as much exposure out of that as they can.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't think they're trying to hold him down or anything either, Mm-hmm. They know they are not the big league.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the partnership with WWE has done nothing but good things for them. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, things only get scary if WWE tries to buy out TNA.
Right.
Then things start to get iffy.
Yeah. I think too that another thing that's really important is he's got a WrestleMania moment already.
Exactly, with Randy Orton.
You know how many people have been like participated in 10, 15 WrestleManias and never got that? Mm-hmm. I mean, like DDP, for instance.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a WrestleMania moment.
Right.
He just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I would argue that Christian does not have one.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, you're right. Not him he was in, like, matches that are cemented in legacies.
Yeah.
But he himself doesn't have a moment. It's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, as far as, like, something that they're going to play on that WrestleMania reel forever.
Yeah.
Or that people are going to remember forever.
Right.
Probably the closest thing to that, like Edge has a bunch, but, like, Christian doesn't have.
Yeah, Edge has, like, any from, like, his match with Taker. He's got the TOC.
The spear off the ladder.
Off the ladder.
Yep. Yeah, with Jeff. The flaming table with Foley. I mean, he's got a bunch, but I mean, like, Kane doesn't really have one.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of say when Taker came back, it's like the dead man.
Yeah.
But that's more on Taker.
That's more on Taker, yeah. Kane was just the body that was in the ring,
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people have competed in WrestleMania for years and never made that, like, iconic moment that's just going to live on forever.
Yeah.
And Joe Hendry got two in his very first WrestleMania. First off, him being the surprise and coming out.
Yeah.
And then the way the match ended.
Yes. That finish was perfect.
It was. Kevin Dunn could have never shot that within a million years.
Never. Yeah, and for that reason alone, Hendry would never work under Vince McMahon because Kevin Dunn would have still been there, and then the angle, they would never get it right with Joe Hendry's gimmick.
Nope.
Never.
They can't do it.
Yeah.
But I just had to get that off my chest because, like, obviously, like, there's a lot of people that feel one way or another about the show, and, like, everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got a right to have an opinion. Mm-hmm. But that one is the one that's just kind of grinding my gears because I don't feel like it harmed anybody involved. I think it actually lifted everyone involved in that situation, both companies and both competitors.
Yeah. Just really quick, the thing that's grinding my gears online concerning WrestleMania are people caping for the finish for the Cody and Cena match. Basically saying that if you don't like it, you don't really understand the story that they're telling.
Oh, God.
People going that angle with it. No, I get it. I got it when it happened. I got it when I saw Cena's entrance. I knew what they were doing. But if the story you're trying to tell is a bad story, then it doesn't matter if you execute it well or not. It's still a bad story.
If you still don't think that this whole angle with The Rock is stupid, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Bret Hart's run. We're getting into the weeds here now, but fuck it, you did it. So
I did.
It's like you look at Bret Hart, man, and over the years, you know, like instead of letting them go from Hogan to Bret as the guy, they went Bret, Yokozuna, Bret, Lex, Bret,
and Hogan
Diesel.
was in there the whole time.
Yeah, Bret, Shawn, like they kept doing all this stuff, and they would always cut the rug out from under Bret, and they never let him be the guy. And I feel like the same shit is happening with Cody Rhodes right now, mainly like because of The Rock. I think when The Rock first came in, I think the shit was real good because it made sense.
Yeah,
but I think all of The Rock's involvement after WrestleMania 40 has made no sense at all.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. He doesn't know storytelling. He damn sure doesn't know booking. I think Triple H knows booking, but instead of Vince McMahon meddling in that, now you have The Rock meddling in it.
Yeah.
And honestly, The Rock just needs to either, if he can make the dates, he needs to show up and do what the fuck the script says, and that's it. Or he needs to not show up at all if he can't make the dates.
And something doesn't really add up either, because The Rock, he did an interview, was it with Ariel Helwani or Pat McAfee, one of the two?
I think both.
He might have done it with both.
I think he's done both.
But in one of the interviews that he was in recently, he mentioned that where was he during WrestleMania? He said that he was at home on the couch watching the show. And I'm like, a man in your position of power within the company, we gave you the benefit of the doubt and just assumed that you were all filming the movie and were unavailable to make it, which is still bullshit, but it's at least an excuse.
Right.
But it's way worse if you're telling me that you were actually at home watching WrestleMania instead of being at the company that you have such power in. None of it makes sense.
The Travis Scott finish is just ridiculously stupid. The John Cena revisionism. Listen, Michael Cole can go on there and say he's the greatest of all time, and if you want to believe that narrative, you can. But it's absolutely false.
Yeah. Cena,
while he was the face of the company, the undisputed face of the company for years and years and years, and it wasn't like Bret either. It was like Hogan. You know, he was the guy. He may not have had the title constantly, hence the 17 championships, but I mean, it was like you weren't beating Cena at a pay-per-view clean ever anytime during that period.
Right.
And if you look at it, man, it's just, you know, the infinite title shots. He had the largest decline in ratings in the history of the professional wrestling business. When Cena finally stepped away, the ratings were worse than WCW 2000.
Oof.
So you look at that, and you look at, you know, with Cena being gone and Vince being gone, the resurgence that the company had, all the lead up into WrestleMania 40, to bring him back as this kind of sideshow who was on the way to retiring, that's fine. But what they're doing with him now, you know, I was against it from jump.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh man, this is fucking great. They did this thing. And I'm just like, where's it go though? Like, it's going to go down one of these four roads. No pun intended. Pun intended. And I'm like, only one of those four is going to be worth a single fuck, and they're not going to go down that one, and they aren't. So
yeah, well, I guess my thing is like this, right? Like would I have liked to have seen Cody do something else? Is there something more I would have liked to have seen him do at Mania? Of course.
Yeah.
But I think that the potential for something really cool is still there, like the former face of the company against the current face of the company. But you turn Cena heel, which is something, again, that's never really been done in his prime, in his peak. And then just seeing the possibilities there. There were some cool promos, some interesting build-up that went into it. But the actual delivery of it was just so flat.
The promos were amazing. Yeah. It's some of the best promo work I've ever seen. The problem was, on his best day, Cena can't deliver in the ring. And he's many, many years from his best day.
Yeah.
I mean, his last great match was with AJ Styles for the title.
That was 2016.
Yeah, maybe 2017. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is way out of his prime, and just because he's in shape doesn't. The Rock is in shape.
Yeah.
Like.
Right. Yeah. It's still like that has nothing to do with aging and athleticism.
Yeah, Hogan was in shape for all those years. The Ultimate Warrior was in amazing shape.
And in his prime, he got blown up running to the ring.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's not about the conditioning. It's about the fact that, like, you're not out there doing it. Cena's had, one match in the last 5 months?
Something like that, yeah.
So, either way, man,
it's not fair for me to say this because I don't know for certain, but I will say this. It makes me feel kind of bad, now, of course, for Cody, but also for, like, Triple H, because I just don't feel like this was his idea. And I don't have anything to prove that. And I could be wrong. It could be one of those things where, like, I'm biased, and if something is incredible, I go, man, look at what Triple H booked. And if it goes poorly, I'm like, man, I know that wasn't Triple H. Must have been The Rock. So I don't want to be that guy and do that. But it just seems like this doesn't seem like something that Triple H would want to willingly book, because more times than not, it seems like he understands what people want, and he understands the business of professional wrestling.
I think the Cena heel turn may have been Triple H's idea.
Yeah.
But the execution of it, I feel like there's been so many people poisoning the water on that. One more thing on this before we move on, but looking at it, I mean, like, I've cut it off for a while. I didn't want to see Cena and Orton in 2009. I sure as fuck don't want to see it now. As soon as I saw that, I was like, cool moment, but click. Like, I'm done. Catch me in a few months. We'll see. We'll see how you're doing. I'll come check on you. If it's Cena and Punk at SummerSlam, I'll be there. But I'm not going. But like, I'll watch. But yeah, man, I can't sit through this shit again. I didn't want to do it the first time.
Yeah. And like Cena and Orton, again, that's kind of revisionist history, as you mentioned earlier. But people tend to forget, maybe willingly, but like those two never really had that great of chemistry together.
Nope.
And it was because Orton, he was always a slow, methodical heel, and John Cena he's just not a great in-ring performing babyface or heel, as we found out Sunday.
Yeah.
But like Orton needs somebody who can come back with like really quick action and really pick up the pace, and he's gonna play that old school hero role and slow down the face. Looking back in the day. And that's also to me, even his matches with Triple H were just kind of because Triple H didn't have that kind of prowess either.
Yeah, Orton works best with like a agile, like a high flyer.
Yeah,
somebody who can build up a lot of momentum. Orton can cut it off and they can go back. So, Cena is not that, and he definitely ain't that now.
Right.
So, it's gonna be bad, man. Like obviously, I would hope that some people in the company are talking about changing course. But we'll see when the numbers come in.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't foresee that being a good match today.
I predicted this being a shit show, so here's my next prediction. The ratings are gonna fall off over the next few weeks, and they're gonna go, oh well, after Mania, there's always a slump, and then they're not gonna come back, and then they're gonna reverse. They're gonna change course, because I'm telling you right now. In Stanford, the plan is to let Cena hold that shit until his last show in December in the Garden, and to have Cody take it back off of him there. I'm telling you, right now, that's the plan. It's for him to hold it all year. And for Cody to get it back in the same arena where they took the belt from his daddy.
Yeah, so I have my money and my faith on... Hopefully, no later than SummerSlam. Cena versus Punk in the main event. Punk goes over, and then we can do Punk versus Cody.
If that happens, I will apologize for not seeing the vision. I want that to happen, and I think most people want that to happen. But
I'll take it a step further. I'll take it another step. That's like the pipe dream. That's like what I would love to happen. But if that doesn't happen, you know what I would like? You know who doesn't have anything solid to do right now? Gunther. Let's give Gunther a run at that title.
Oh, no.
Put him in the ring with Cena. I would love that. That'd be fantastic.
You just want to watch him beat the bejesus out of Cena. I'm telling you, man, they're actually in a lot of trouble right now, too. And we said we were going to move on, but we're still here. I shouldn't even brought this up. They said that we talked about them being in trouble with Cena. They're in trouble with their other champion, too. Like, Jey Uso has nothing going for him right now at all. And I don't know what they're going to do, because it really seems like Rollins and Braun Breaker are going to be tied up. Yeah, with Cena and Roman for a while now.
Or with Punk and Roman.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. With Punk and Roman for a while now. So like, what's he gonna do? Please tell me they're not gonna run the Gunther match back at Backlash.
I think, and I could be wrong with that. I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like they're gonna turn Sammy heel.
I actually thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah, and maybe they're burning it a little slow, but if they turn Sammy heel and finally give him that strap.
Oh, I'd be all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should do that immediately. Yeah. They could have done it on Monday, and I'd probably be watching next week. I definitely would be.
Could you imagine if they have Sammy go heel, challenge for the title, and win it all in the same night?
My God. I'm going to tell you, for a minute, I thought they were going to go the other route, and they were going to have, like, Jimmy turn heel, and they were going to run that back.
Oh, no.
And I was like, no, that match is horrible. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, there's your WrestleMania 41 recap.
Yeah, our 22-minute cold open
about wrestling. There's a strong overlap in what we talk about in professional wrestling. All right, maybe not tonight, but like generally speaking, there's a large overlap. So
yeah, that's right.
Well, homies, one and all, allow us to welcome you back to a very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with the world's greatest co-host, the man who worked with the committee to get the merch shop set up. You guys can click the link in the description to go to the merch store, get all your Superhero Homie swag, shirts, hoodies, candles, tote bags, and more. I am here with the homie Caleb.
I'm on it right now, ordering me some new stuff.
That's right.
So, I mean, I'm telling you guys, you can have all the Superhero Homie merch you ever wanted. You can have the candles. You can have the cups. You can have the hoodie. And now, just hot off the presses, folks, you can have the zip hoodie or the pullover hoodie.
Yes.
We had a lengthy discussion about that on the Fantastic Four review.
And we were incorrect.
That's correct. We were completely wrong. Like, it wasn't that I thought we only had the pullover hoodie. I was double wrong. We have the zip and not the pullover. Well, guess what? Now we got both of them.
Both of them.
So, do what you will. Go on there and order your stuff, folks.
And guys, don't worry. We are working on the Superhero Homie condoms. All right, the condoms are on the way.
Nope.
And Caleb and I, we discussed this, and we agree that the condoms are a must-have for the store. So, guys, don't worry about that. If you want to make sure that you bust like a hero, we got you covered.
There will be no condoms on the Superhero Homie shop. We talked to the committee about this, and they actually said that they can't find a material that actually can hold the homies bust in. So they don't make it. They haven't tried tungsten yet. Maybe they tried titanium.
There we go.
And so they're working on that.
Okay. Well, when they get done with out the lab, I'm sure we'll have that updated for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, homies, you know who else really needs condoms? People in the apocalypse, because who wants to bring life into a world that's that shitty?
And this is why I really don't care for Quiet Place.
But on the flip side, in an apocalypse, what else are you going to do for fun?
You true.
You're damned if you do in that situation.
Raising a baby in an apocalypse where if things make noise, you get killed, does not sound like fun to me.
It makes you wonder what the quality of the sex was.
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been fucking amazing because, like, honestly, like, that's like you already playing on Tactician, and then you're like, fuck this, I'm going to go play on Honor Mode.
Mm-hmm. Which is a dangerous game when there's not zombies, but fucking alien creatures like A Quiet Place that can kill you in 0.24 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, guys, we know you guys are out there playing that Baldur's Gate 3 patch 8. You can put this video on in your other monitor.
That's right. Or maybe you playing Oblivion. Who knows?
That's true. I've been playing both of them.
Both of them.
So, both of them. But yeah, we are, believe it or not, 25 minutes in, we are actually here to finish our recap / review of the back half of season 1 of The Last of Us. We're doing this ahead of the season 2 review, which will be coming up soon. It is already out. It's only going to be 7 episodes, so we probably do like a 4-3 split on that. We'll break it into 2 episodes as well. I just don't think we're going to be able to cover 7 episodes
in one.
In like a 4-hour extravaganza. I will say this: I have seen the first 2 episodes.
That's have I.
And we will try not to interject any of that into tonight's review, so you don't have to worry about being spoiled. I mean, we're going to talk about the game at some point too, so if you just absolutely don't know anything about Game 2 and you want to avoid all spoilers, maybe don't listen to this. But
yeah, but for certain, we will not discuss anything that at least hasn't happened in the show yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9 of season 1. Yeah, man. So let's just get into it. What did you think about this back half of season 1?
Yeah, I thought that the back half of season 1 was still really strong. It's like if I look at the first 5 episodes, if I had to deem a weak episode for me, it'd probably be episode 4.
Yeah.
And for me, ironically, like on the back half of the season, I would say episode 6 is maybe the weak one, quote unquote, of the series. I have some minor gripes with like episode 9, the finale, but it ultimately does what that finale needed to do for the direction that they wanted to take this show and the story. But yeah, I mean, I guess what do you think about the back half?
I agree with you. I think episode 4 is the weak episode in the first half. Mm-hmm. I also agree that episode 6 is the weak episode in the back half. However, I think that 6 is a much better episode than 4.
Yeah.
And 4 honestly struggles for being a part 1.
Yeah.
We talked about this when we reviewed the Mistborn trilogy. Like, Well of Ascension, to me, suffers greatly because it is very much just a part 1 of 2.
It's it works as both an epilogue and a prologue.
Yeah.
And that's tricky.
It is, yeah. And he pulls it off.
Yeah.
But it's still just, it doesn't have that flair to it that the finale is worth it. The juice is definitely worth the fucking squeeze. Yes. You only got to squeeze twice and you just got like a 5-gallon bucket of juice. But yeah, it's kind of similar to that with episode 4. It's like episode 5 was amazing, but like 4 had to establish all the things to make it then be able to do 5. I think 6 is similar here. 6 is not really a part 1 to 7, but it is kind of a prologue for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like the first 5 episodes were really about like establishing the environment of the show, establishing what flavor of apocalypse we're in. The first 3 episodes really do a lot of that, and building this relationship between Joel and Ellie, and kind of like them going across the country together. The last 4 episodes, I think, are really more about the end game for them completing their quest that they're on, and kind of how we flow into that.
I agree with you on that, and that's why like the tone and more importantly the pacing of this season as a whole is so important, and it's why I'm so grateful that HBO, has like the wherewithal to only issue out a certain number of episodes. It's almost like they consult with the showrunner Craig Mazin, and it's like, how many episodes do you need? Versus, we're gonna give you 12 episodes, fill it out. We need 12 weeks of television from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the many reasons why like Rings of Power is bad, is because they contractually obligated themselves to like 52 hours of television.
Oh, yeah.
And so like that show's just going to keep getting renewed even if no one watches it because they legally have to make it.
Sheesh.
Yeah, the other day somebody that actually likes the show was like, I really like it. I don't know how it keeps getting renewed. I'm like, they're legally obligated to make it. It doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
You could be literally the only person watching it. They will make the new season.
Yeah.
So, unless like Amazon just goes to them and is like, look, we're losing a ton of money. If we just pay you like $20 million, can we just get out of this? Like,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, I really like the approach. I don't have any problems with anything that HBO has done here. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, in season 2, there are some things where I wish HBO had stepped in and done some of that studio interference that we talk about all the time. Mm-hmm. We'll save that for later. Let me put that back up. I'm so glad we normally would be doing this on a Monday. I'm so glad we're doing it on a Thursday, because if we had done this on Monday, I would not be able to contain myself. I would just be full tilt raging into this microphone. I think that it's really interesting here how they kind of did this split for us. Like, I think the back 4 episodes have a much different tone to them,
right,
than the first 5. Mainly because, like, for the first chunk of this, Joel doesn't want anything to do with Ellie, mm-hmm. you know. And then by the time we get to this back half, you know, he's completely her protector now.
Yeah. You know, so obviously, like, the bulk of this episode is in Jackson, you know, in this community town, which has got to be like one of the best in the country.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to ways that you want to end up, right? Like, mm-hmm. this is one of the best places you could possibly live.
Yeah.
In the United States in this point in time that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Especially at this point in time, I mean, they have electricity, folks.
Right. And not like, you know, just generator operated electricity. They have like power lines and poles and, you know, like, because I think, aren't they right by, what is it, the Niagara Falls? No. They're all by like some kind of giant waterfall, though.
Yeah. Is it the Rio Grande?
Shit, it might be. I didn't pay attention enough during the video game to take note of any of that.
I don't. Sorry, folks. I don't know.
And plus, I don't even know if we see the waterfall near Jackson.
No, but they do show the dam.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not a waterfall now because there's a dam.
Yeah.
It may have been at one point, but yeah, there's a hydroelectric dam, so mm-hmm. that's an infinite source of energy, unless, like, you know, it actually just breaks down and you guys don't have any means to fix it.
Yeah.
Which, at some point, that will happen because the people that make those parts definitely don't make them anymore. So, but I mean, that shit could last 100 years.
Yeah.
So,
in the grand scheme of things, that's like maybe 2.5 people. You know. So not quite that long as you think, but still, it'll do for the time being.
Well, I mean, you just gotta assume that in like 200 years that there's even going to be humans.
That's true.
I mean, they like from what it seems like, man, they haven't really established a thing where like the cordyceps zombies die out, right? Like
they keep evolving seemingly.
Yeah. So, I mean, even we see later that even in like extreme winter, they just kind of like hibernate.
Yeah.
So they're gonna outlast the humans.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And I guess also you can kind of tell by like just the lack of progress that society has made since its downfall, you know?
Right.
Like there hasn't been any kind of upswing yet on that pendulum.
Yeah, at least in Fallout, man. Like Fallout is bleak as fuck, but like so much of our society at that point, like there are cities.
Yeah. Like
the society has adapted to a baseline level of radiation.
Right.
I mean, some people aren't doing too well. But you know, for as far as like apocalypses go, though, you can see the steady, like that society could come back.
Yeah,
you know, it's possible. Whereas here, man, it's such a bleak outlook. You can't see the humans lasting really more than another generation.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we'll talk more about this at the end of this episode or towards the end of this episode. But even if they were able to come up with a cure, how are you going to distribute this thing? And you know how? Okay, you distribute it. you still have, surely at this point, at minimum tens of thousands of infected to deal with. You know, like it will still be a slow turnaround to try to get things back on track. You have to reestablish some sort of government, you know, and I mean, like just the whole total restarting of society would be a fucking shit show in and of itself.
If they got, I mean, here's the thing: a cure or at least a vaccine, basically, for the cordyceps, something to prevent it from infecting you, would change it, right? Like if they had that, then humanity is very likely not going to die out, right? Because at some point, you will, regardless of how many people it is, at some point you'll distribute that to everyone who's left, right? And from that point, like the cordyceps now can't make any more zombies. So, I mean, eventually the odds are that like humanity will thrive again and become like the like dominant species on the planet. It might take 500 years.
I was going to say, like, it's going to take a long time, but you also have to think about the rate at which the cordyceps are evolving.
Right.
Within that time frame of distributing it.
Well, so the narrative in the show is that the cordyceps evolved originally because the planet got hotter.
Yep.
And you got to think that has probably stopped now.
Yeah.
Because the pollution has definitely tanked. So I think without the planet like continuing to like increase in heat, the cordyceps isn't going to evolve to infect more things. Like they aren't going to get to where they can do like warmer creatures than us. Right, because they can't do like animals, right? Like it can't do bears and dogs and shit.
Right.
Which speaking of, man, the dogs are the MVPs, but that's for later. That's for later. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to be able to infect more things because the planet honestly should start to cool some. But it does seem to be getting smarter somehow. So.
Yeah, which could be argued is more terrifying.
Yeah. I don't know how much of that I buy. Because it's not like a hive mind.
And you know what it is, like for me, like the whole they're getting smarter thing, there's no way to hide it. It's a video game thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it sounds like something that you would do in a sequel to a video game.
Yeah, because... The cordyceps as a concept, like the base science of like, oh, cordyceps can't affect humans because our bodies are too hot. Cool. All right. Scientific, like factual. Oh, well, the planet's getting warmer though. So they're naturally evolving to be able to live in warmer places. Now they can affect humans. Okay. Like up to there, you've really got me. Like I'm really interested in this, right? But now it's the whole, oh, it's getting smarter. It's fucking not. It's a fungus. Like, it's not a hive mind.
Yeah.
Like, now, don't get me wrong. Like, it would make sense for, like, the cordyceps to, like, get into you. And, okay, now it's got control of your human brain. And now the cordyceps that you have can learn.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, like, spread to everyone else that has it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know... And people are going to try to say that, well, you know, in the show, they're connected by, like, this kind of tunnel root system type deal. But that's more like a signal, not so much a hive mind. There's
not a brain somewhere. And if there is, then they could find it and destroy it.
Yeah, I mean, you do that in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
You find the Elder Brain, and then you beat it. Spoiler alert.
For this year and a half old game. Going on 2 years right now.
Yeah.
And still got like 150,000 players.
Still going strong.
Just on Steam.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man. Not to make this the Baldur's Gate 3 Part 2 review.
Although we probably could do that at some point now that we're like 85 content updates later.
Easily.
Yeah, man. So let's get into a little bit here. We get introduced to Jackson, which obviously... Jackson is a centerpiece, one of the most important locales, you know, in this world for our characters. And at first, they're warned by the couple, like, hey, don't go any further. Was it north?
I forget which direction.
I think they're like, yeah, there's just death. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, fuck it, we'll go that way.
Yeah.
Joel's like, ain't nothing up there worse than me.
Right.
And, come to find out that they actually get stopped by one of the Jackson's scout patrols. Tommy's not with them. This would have gone a lot faster if he had been.
Yeah.
Instead, we get Tara May. I mean, what's her actual name in the show?
You talking about Ellie? No, not Ellie, but
no, Tommy's wife.
Yeah. Is it Maria?
I don't know. I'm on the IMDb, so I can look at it. Yeah, it's Maria.
Okay.
So they have this incredible moment in this episode, probably the best moment in the episode, where they have the dog that can, like, he's basically a drug dog, but for cordyceps, which is a dope ass thing to teach a dog in the apocalypse.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you teach that? You grab like a bunch of dead infected and have the dog kind of smell like the recently deceased.
Yeah, I mean, probably the same way they train a drug dog, They
feed
probably...
it cocaine?
Huh?
Feed it cocaine?
No. No, I'm assuming that they probably taught the dog, like, hey, you attack this, and then they feed them, give them some meat or whatever, and then, like, just you train them that way, reward that behavior, and then they'll just do it on their own, so.
I'll be honest, man, even though I completely knew what was going to happen, I still got nervous the first time I saw that dog sniff Ellie.
Because the tension in that moment is the way this is shot. Craig Mazin written all over it.
Yeah, and also it's been some years since I played the games, but I'm pretty certain that this moment is not in the game. Like this is TV only, because especially us as the players, as Joel, we're gonna do something stupid in that moment. So yeah, it was definitely just a thing for TV. But in that moment, Joel feels so helpless. And there's just really nothing he can do if that dog picks up that scent that Ellie is infected. But thankfully, nope, dog can't tell. So it's just like a friendly pup at this point.
What's crazy is the director on this, Jasmila Zabanik, has very little experience. She did a direct-to-TV movie called Love Island in 2014. She is the creator and writer of a 6-episode show called I Know Your Soul. And that's it. Like, everything else is, incredibly, short films, really out of, just unknown type stuff. And then she must have impressed somebody, though, because then she got an episode of The Last of Us.
Yeah. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
When we get to Jackson, we get the embrace or the reunion of Tommy and Joel. Man, what'd you think of their encounter and then their interactions throughout this episode?
The way that Pedro Pascal plays Joel, I'll be honest, man. I like his version better than the game version. For two reasons. Number one, he never to me seemed like he was trying to emulate. Is it Troy Baker? Is that? Yeah. Who we get in the next episode? Actually,
we do.
I never felt like he was trying to emulate Troy Baker. I felt like he was always trying to bring his own, sort of insight to it. He plays a softer Joel, It's very interesting to see, Joel has people, that he considers himself a protector of. Sarah.
Yep.
Which obviously he failed. That's like his whole life story essentially is that night, that we start out with. Mm-hmm. Tommy, Tess, and Ellie. And the way that he acts towards those 4 individuals is a loving, nurturing, protecting person most of the time. Obviously, every time he loses one of these people, he as a person gets immensely worse. Mm-hmm. Towards everybody else, though, fuck him. Like, he cares nothing. Like, even when he would go visit Bill and Frank, if either of them became a threat to Tess, he would shoot him in the head, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
And never even think about it again. Mm-hmm. And those were like the next closest people to him besides those 4 people. You know what I mean? There is nothing that matters to him other than being that protector. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that his entire just demeanor changes when he sees Tommy.
Yeah. Just going off of what you said there about him being soft in the show, he is. And to a degree, I don't like that. And a lot of it does have to do with people rationalizing why maybe he does what he does in season 2. Because how does a character like Joel, who's a hardcore survivor, wind up in certain situations? We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the encounter between Joel and Tommy was also very touching, and you can tell that, man, he really missed his brother. Both of them, both of them missed each other. Man, how do you think Joel felt about Tommy, being married and starting a family?
You can tell at first he's like, I don't trust you, bitch. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
he's very much, because like they lost a kid too, right? The 2 of them.
Did they?
Well, not the 2 of them together, but Maria lost a kid.
I don't know.
Cause isn't there later on in this episode, like when Ellie's looking through the stuff, isn't there a picture of like Maria's kid and also a picture of Sarah? Like Maria lost a son, I think.
Okay.
Because she thinks that she sees the picture of Sarah, and she thinks that that's Maria's kid, and she's like, "Oh no, that's Joel's daughter."
Yeah.
And like Ellie doesn't know anything about Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He obviously at first is very distrusting of Maria. Also because he knows that Tommy is gullible.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, this is just another fucking thing he's done got sucked into, like the Fireflies, you know. We actually, I don't think ever really talked about this, even when I was doing episode by episode under Entertainment Evolved. But what do you think about Gabriel Luna here? The best ghostwriter we ever got as Tommy.
He played, trying to blank on his name. Not Johnny Blaze, but
he the other one.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, and Agents of Shield.
Yes, he was tremendous in that. Trying to get his, trying to find that. Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes, that's right. Had the hot rod instead of the bike.
Yeah. It honestly, man, I loved it. The way that he, I thought his transformation looked incredible. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, so
you really should, man. That season that he's in, honestly, given the shit that we suffer through on a regular basis, the whole show is dope. It has phased 1 and 2 MCU production value. Yeah. You know, honestly, it looks better than some of the movies do now. So,
I mean, yeah.
Get the worst Agents of Shield ever really gets is mid, unless it's like the last season, which I never really finished and maybe I should go back and do that, but it does kind of go off the rails in the last season because that's when the whole like Ike Perlmutter shit was hitting the roof, and I think he just kind of went out of his way to be like, well, we're gonna not acknowledge the MCU, even though that's the reason people watch this show.
Right. It's just a weird choice.
Yeah, I think he was just like, fuck it at that point.
Basically.
So.
But no, I think that Daniel does really good here as Tommy. Like I like his Tommy a lot. Because it's like he is a survivor also like Joel, but for Tommy, like life never stopped. And Tommy's still trying to find a way for life to press on. So he's still trying to make, in the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit,
Yeah.
And hell, I don't know like the inception of Jackson as a community, but shit, Tommy, I'm sure has been a big part of its success, So he's done well. Like, and you compare it to like Joel and what he was doing, and he was doing fucking grunt work, pushing pills on the side, drinking himself to sleep every night, just not living any kind of quality of life at all. And then you juxtapose that with Tommy, and he's in this phenomenal community, all things considered. He's married, and come to find out he has a kid on the way now, and I mean, things are really looking up for Tommy. He can really see some sort of semblance of a future for himself. Whereas Joel, you can tell that when we first meet Joel post Sarah dying, he's just waiting for himself to die.
Yeah, he's just existing. Yeah. He's not living. He's just existing. Tommy is at least surviving and trying to have what semblance of a life that he can in Jackson. And I'll be honest, man, like, it would be very tempting for me if I'm Ellie here, or really Joel too, but like, it's hard for me to put myself in Joel's mindset to just be like, man, this is nice. I think I'm just going to chill here.
Yeah. Why do you think that never really crossed Ellie's mind?
I think for Ellie, and we don't ever get to see this really come to fruition because Neil Druckmann had decided he just wanted to do something else. But I think that Ellie really wanted to fix all of this. I think she had it in her mind that she could set all of this straight. And regardless of our opinions on it, we will never know if that could have happened.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking insane concept. Like, regardless of how you feel about it, like your opinion on the execution of it or whatever, that's like such an insane concept to be like, imagine that you're the only person who could possibly fix this. There was really only one chance to do it, and that chance got completely taken from you by someone that you really love and respect. That's a fucking insane position to be in.
Yeah, it is. And, like that kind of crux of Druckmann's storytelling, I always thought was the most intriguing, simply because, like, it leaves it up to you and your interpretation and what you think. Now, unfortunately, that is kind of ripped away from you, but we'll get there at a later time.
Be like if you got the Black Panther job, and then I called Kevin Feige and was like, nah, bruh, the motherfucker is on heroin like every day.
Feige's like, are you sure it's every day, not like every
other day? Like, nah, dog, every day, yeah.
Shit.
Like, all right, man, we'll give it out as Hodge.
Like, oh, man, Kale, you never guess what happened, man. I didn't get the role, man. They just called me and said that I didn't get it.
I'm like, that's wild.
And then he told me I need to go get help. Like, what?
Oh, like with your acting.
Oh, man.
That's fucked up, man. Let's go shit on Kevin Feige on the podcast. That's pretty much how it goes down. Except, it's just the fate of humanity.
Yeah, that's all. Fuck them. So this episode is really used to establish Jackson as community, but it's really more of like a character focused driven episode. It's called Ken, by the way, the name of the episode, and it's used to essentially like test Joel's and Ellie's relationship, and in the end, propel it to like the next level for them. Yeah, like so I really like the idea of this place as a whole. And when Joe has to talk with Tommy where he's pretty much telling Tommy that he doesn't think that he's up to the job to get Ellie the rest of the way to Salt Lake. He doesn't think that he can get her there safely and he names all these other times when things could have gone to shit under him, but thankfully they didn't. And he's just like, Tommy is younger, Tommy is this, that, and third. Tommy can get it done. Whereas Joe, he didn't have the faith or confidence in himself that he can do it.
And he's been having panic attacks.
Yeah.
Mainly because he has allowed himself to care for someone again. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that he was prepared for. And like, I think every time he thinks about Ellie being in that kind of danger, he's right back in that situation holding Sarah the night that she died.
Yep. And I mean, he's never, clearly like a parent is never going to quote unquote get over that, but Joel has never allowed himself to really heal at all.
Yeah, he doesn't, I don't think he wants to heal from it. But obviously Joel is like very much the kind of like toxic masculinity type person. He's not going to talk about his feelings. He isn't, to him, like Joel can't even be honest with himself. Mm-hmm. He damn sure isn't going to be honest with someone else. I mean,
in his defense, like in the situation of this kind of global apocalypse, to a degree, maybe you really, I'm not saying that he shouldn't handle his business or deal with it, but I feel that like exposing yourself like that to a degree in this environment, probably not the best for your physical well-being.
Yeah, I mean, apocalypse survival aside, mm-hmm. he isn't going to heal like this.
Yeah.
Whether he has the opportunity to or not is up for debate.
Yeah.
I definitely got to talk about this episode because to me, Bella Ramsey proves why she is a great choice for Ellie in this episode. I mean, I think she already had established that, but obviously, like one of her biggest quotes from season 1 is in this episode when her and Joel finally have it out and they have their big argument. And she says, "So don't tell me I'd be safer with somebody else because the truth is I would just be more scared."
Yeah.
The way that Bella Ramsey delivered this line was fucking crushing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really loved it.
Yeah, and it was interesting, right? Because like that was a level of vulnerability and honesty that she showed with Joel that Joel just wasn't ready for,
Yeah.
Great moment, though.
Yeah, this kind of thing where it like comes to a head where Ellie finds out that Joel is pawning her off.
Yep.
And that Joel had a daughter before and like that she died and like she starts to put together mm-hmm. those pieces of like, oh, so that's why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
And there's also that aspect to it too where Ellie wants to be self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to have this protector.
Yeah.
But she does, and she does actually feel safe with him. And I think she hates to an extent that she needs that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that she does need it.
Yeah. Yeah. As fucked up as they both are in their own ways, they are good for each other. But ultimately, Joel does decide that he is going to be the one who escorts Ellie. Actually, Ellie's the one who decides that Joel is going to be the one who escorts her.
Yeah.
He gives Ellie the opportunity to choose, and without hesitation, she chooses Joel.
Listen, if you're a magical child and you need to go somewhere, you literally have your best choice right there.
Yeah, so Sue Storm is gonna have to travel real close to Reed Richards in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
To teleport that baby.
Yes.
To transport that baby. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that way Galactus can't get a hold of him, or nothing like that. Cool. The way that this episode ends is pretty cool. They being Joel and Ellie are attacked by a group of raiders. They're like is it a research, like a campus or a research facility of some sort?
Yeah. What's the city they're in? Do you know? Do you remember?
Jackson, is that in Missouri? Or are they further north?
It feels like they're further north than that.
Yeah, I forget exactly where they're at. I mean, shit, well, no, they might be in Missouri because they're traveling to Salt Lake, ultimately.
Yeah, so somebody has mapped it all. Wyoming.
Oh, that's right. They're in Wyoming.
And they head to somewhere in Colorado. Is it Denver?
Yeah, that's right. They head to Denver. Yep.
Yeah, so to Jackson and then to Boulder, Colorado.
Gotcha.
And then they end up in Lakeside, and then they end up going to Salt Lake. So Boulder is where it originally is supposed to be. That's where this happens at.
Yeah. Shit goes sideways real quick.
Real quick.
Yep, they are attacked by seemingly some raiders. They attack first, ask questions later. Maybe they don't ask questions at all. We don't know that because Joel kills the one that tries to attack them.
This shit came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What's crazy, man, is like the nerve of these raiders were like they rushed this motherfucker. And then he kills the guy, and then the other guys are like, "Oh, you motherfucker!"
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I don't know how you guys operate where you come from, but like if I'm walking down the street and then like a mugger comes at me, and then the tussle, I kill the mugger, and his friend is like, "How fucking dare you?" I'm like, "Dog, I don't think you understand what's going on here,
right?"
Was I supposed to just willingly give up my shit?
Yeah, yeah. Or in this case, man, I think he was trying to kill him.
Just trying to kill him, yeah.
Bro, that shit that he got stabbed with, what was it, a broken off baseball bat?
Yeah.
I'm good, dog.
Man.
I don't want to get stabbed by that if I'm standing outside of an ER today.
Bruh, yeah, no.
I definitely don't want it in the apocalypse in the middle of nowhere. Like,
right.
If you were in Jackson, which is like best case scenario,
yeah,
that's still fuck that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
But like, this is like in the middle of nowhere.
That's the other shitty thing about the apocalypse that people don't think about. You could have a setup as fancy as fucking Bill's. You slip off the roof and break your leg, like,
there's nowhere to take you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a bad accident, you're done. If you have like an organ go out, like an appendix, you're done.
You're done, son.
Yeah, you're gonna get sepsis and die. Like there's, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you get any kind of crazy thing, like I mean, the stuff today that we really take for granted, like if your fucking blood pressure gets crazy and you need blood pressure medication, you ain't gonna get it.
Right.
You're just gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You're done.
Yeah. And it gets more fucked the more you think about it, you know?
It really does, because there's so many things today where...
But I think about, what about people with diabetes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. All them people, by the time this came, they're dead.
It's fucked up, but yeah.
Because, I'm going to be honest, when it comes time to amputate your feet, bruh, like, they ain't got no morphine to give you.
Yeah.
Just kill me.
Right.
You know? Plus, you ain't going to last long with club feet. And,
when it's time to run, and there will be times where you need to run, you fucked.
You're done. I mean, any disability, basically.
And we didn't even talk about this fact, like, how are you going to get vaccinated? You know, like the basic normal vaccinations that people get at birth. Because a lot of those people are Joe's age or older.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you got to hope that all them people had that shit, because Yeah, I mean, you look at things like polio.
Yeah.
Like, that could come back. Now, granted, it's only going to kill, like, one community.
Yeah.
Because the shit ain't going to spread across the country.
Right.
That is, like, one advantage you do have. But also, another thing that we don't think about is, like, the flu. Mm-hmm. If a motherfucker from, like, Boston gets the flu and then travels to Jackson, they could start just wiping Jackson out because the immunity and things, like, our immune systems are going to, like, we're not going to be like today where it's like we're exposed to people all the time that have maybe all sorts of different germs from different places. Mm-hmm. No, man. So, like, all the diseases and shit that exist today still exist then. If you get cancer, just have somebody put a bullet in your head.
Yeah.
Like,
you must be, I don't want to say you must be infected, but, you know, there's nothing they can do for you is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you're done. I mean, anything like that is... I mean, shit, STDs, like, condoms aren't readily available.
And STDs have got to be rampant.
You know it.
They're rampant in Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, that scene is so awful when he gets stabbed with that.
And then you see him pull out, like, the fucking broken...
You're like, when's it going to end?
Yeah. He's like... Yeah, it's gross, man. This is a change that I do like more. It works more in the show like this than like how the video game version works, because the video game version is like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Right.
You know, he falls like out of a window onto like a jagged piece of broken whatever, and he's impaled.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, oh, Joe's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess Craig Mazin was like, look, Neil, we're gonna have to change this just a little bit. So instead, Joe gets stabbed with that broken bat. Who keeps a fucking broken baseball bat piece?
Right. Yeah. That's fucked, man. You know, ain't nobody had no tetanus shot in like 25 years.
Yeah.
You got anything else on before we move to the next one?
Let's go and move on.
So this next episode is kind of the Marvel Netflix episode where like the hero is down and out, don't have their powers for whatever reason.
Or the flashback episode that we get in all those shows as well, you know.
But it's both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Honestly, the way they did this, where they kind of incorporated the DLC into it, I actually love this episode.
You know what's funny? When I was introducing this game to Oz, I told him, I said, when you play the game, you're going to get to a point where Joel is hurt, and I said, when you get to that point, stop and play the DLC.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's brilliant that they put this episode right here, you know, because this is where it should go.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, Left Behind, which is actually the name of the DLC in The Last of Us Part 1, and it's also the name of this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the DLC was also incredible. And, you know, I love how they capture all of the elements of that DLC. And then, as Craig Mazin does, adds a layer to it to make it even more in-depth.
And Riley is portrayed by Storm Reed here, who does an amazing job.
She does. She's really good in everything I see her in.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good in Euphoria.
Yep.
She was. She didn't have a big role in the Suicide Squad, but she was hilarious for the moment she was there.
She's the younger sister, right? In Euphoria.
Yep.
Zendaya's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That show is crazy, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna get another season or what it's gonna be about, or
there's gonna be some titties in it though.
Probably. But. That, I mean, this is not the Euphoria review, but I feel like that is such an underrated masterpiece, man.
Yeah, Euphoria is really good. I think that, not to get off on like the Euphoria review, but I feel like it does to a degree have like the same problems as like Spartacus, where people look at Spartacus and just see violence and sex and think, oh, well, that's what people watch this. There's nothing more to it. You know?
Right.
And people can think that, Euphoria is just nothing more than, teenage sex and drama, needless drama, but there's a lot more to that show than that's just that,
Yeah, I mean, granted, they only took 20 minutes tops. I think it's more like 6 minutes to pull Sydney Sweeney's titties out.
I mean, hey.
In their prime, just right there. It wasn't like Jennifer Lawrence where she waited until, no one cared. But that's actually a pretty funny movie, though. But, yeah, I mean, they didn't do themselves any favors by doing that, but they got a lot of publicity, and I loved it. I mean, it's a great scene. So I just really like the acting.
Oh, that's what you like about it.
Oh, yeah, the dramatic flair.
Yeah, those titties was adding their asses off, let me tell you.
I believe firmly that, pun intended, that they were some titties. The realism was off the chain.
Yeah, the way the titties reacted to Sydney Sweeney's movement was just...
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We are not helping the show at all right now.
We're not.
Check out Euphoria. It's a great show, and it's not just because of the titties, but those do help.
Oh, shit. Okay. What were we talking? Oh, yeah, we're talking about Riley, because she is also in Euphoria.
She is, yep. And so this episode was actually, like, it was so good. We got to see a lot of Ellie's backstory, a lot of why she is the way that she is. Is this the one where we get her mom at the beginning?
No.
That's the last episode.
Yep.
Yeah. My girl.
Yeah.
But we got to see how she actually finds out that she is immune, because she didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody knew, actually.
Yeah, no one knew. This is just it's such a kind of a heart-wrenching episode in like all the best ways. Like you get the full gambit of emotions here,
Yes.
But yeah, seeing Ellie trying to just exist in this type of environment, man, life just seems so bleak, Like when she's sitting down with, what do you call this? Their version of a guidance counselor / officer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like one person can basically just decide how the rest of your life is going to go.
Yeah.
And if they don't like you for whatever reason, and it also here it's Fedra, and like the Boston QZ seems to be like the tamest Fedra QZ.
Yeah.
And it's still a fucking oppressive totalitarian government.
Yes.
If you're in the apocalypse, in this particular apocalypse, would you rather be out on your own in the wilds, not in Jackson, but like fallouting it, or would you rather be in a QZ?
I was gonna say, man, this sounds real. Would you rather be Institute or Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah. Yeah.
or just doing it on your own? Man, so if it was a video game, I would say do it on my own, but it's not in this scenario, and I had to pick one. Fedra seems like the way to go if you're looking for like your own safety and comfort, unless it gets overthrown by that region's fireflies, in which case it's not the way to go.
No.
We've seen what that looks like.
Yeah. Like I said, like the Boston QZ seems like the tamest one.
Yeah.
And like even then there's a fucking war going on basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shit is not cool. And this whole kind of environment here is it's just so fucking bleak. And also, Ellie has a Walkman. And I'm like, that thing's got to be worth its weight in gold.
Right? Yeah.
It's got to be. Because, like, the batteries have got to be a fucking fortune in this society.
Right. I'm assuming, like, all the iPods have died.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just fucking... Wait, it was 03. When did we get iPods? I think it was, like, maybe a few years afterwards, right?
Was it was 03 when the infection happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we never would have got the iPod. They had like they had the LG chocolate.
Oh yeah,
that played music. That was a big deal.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like the first one.
Yeah,
It's like that thick.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because that was a big deal, man. That your
was.
phone could play music.
Right.
Like what the fuck?
Bro, remember like ringback tones?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You could like force anyone that wanted to call you to listen to whatever song you wanted.
Yeah.
That was the most fucked shit, right? Because like you were never gonna hear it.
You're never gonna hear it. It's just for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that no more.
We don't. It's funny, man, because like we used to, pay extra to have ringtones and shit.
Yeah.
Some of them shits would be like real expensive.
Yeah.
But now it's like if my phone makes a sound, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah. Something's awful. Why is this not on like vibrate or silent?
Yeah, exactly. Silent for this, vibrate for everything else.
Yeah.
Kind of while we're getting all of this, we kind of get the Ellie trying to get Joel to some semblance of safety, and he is bad off.
Oh yeah.
And when she pulls that shirt up and like they show the wound or whatever, that shit looks horrible. And a gut wound is a bad way to go.
Yeah. In this scenario, anyways, kind of a bad way to go.
Oh yeah.
But this just looks fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Joe's thinking, but like in his fleeting moments of consciousness, he's probably like, oh no, like my fate is in the hands of this 14-year-old little girl. And we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna fucking die out here.
I actually don't think he's necessarily thinking that. I think he's like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to protect her anymore.
Yeah. I would be thinking, oh no.
Yeah.
My life is in the hands of this fucking 14-year-old little girl.
Who doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
That literally grew up inside of like, 10 city blocks.
Yeah. Who fucking, basically thought a car ride was like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never talked about that scene, by the way. He had to put the seatbelt on for her because she had just had no concept.
Yeah, she's never been in a car. What the fuck is that? What's a car?
Oh, shit.
Madness.
Fucking madness. But yeah, Joe's fucked up. Eventually we get the scene where Riley, who's been missing for some time, she sneaks in through Ellie's window and tries to scare her, and it kind of backfires.
Yeah.
She almost gets her ass beat. But then Riley convinces Ellie to take a trip with her, and that they have to do it tonight. She has something that she really wants to show Ellie.
It's the abandoned mall that no one's supposed to go in because it's got infected in it.
Well, the first part is the part we're focusing on.
Yeah. So we go to the abandoned mall. They get to see all the mall things that they've never got to experience.
A fucking escalator would be wild if you've never seen one before.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? So like this will move me from here to there.
And I just stand on it.
I just stand here. Yeah. I really love all the scenes here, but a lot of it is just really character work for the two of them.
Yep.
We get to see a much more innocent Ellie. Still snarky, but she hasn't had this like horrific moment yet.
Yeah.
And Riley is just instantly likable.
Yeah.
I think. Lo and behold, as it always happens, there is an infected down here, and both of them get bit.
Yep.
And they just have to wait to turn.
It is, I guess, somewhat important to mention that before the zombie does make an appearance here, Ellie discovers all about where Riley's been and what she's been up to.
Yep. She's been with the Fireflies.
Yep, she's been with the Fireflies. She's been recruited there, and there's just like an immediate conflict of ideologies there. And you can argue that both of them were just indoctrinated by different camps, and so they're both kind of spouting their own rhetoric at each other during certain moments. But all the while, right, like their kind of love for each other is like the underlying thing here.
Yeah.
And like the bittersweet moment here is when like they're finally vulnerable and honest with each other, and they're like, "Look, I don't want you to leave," and Riley's like, "I don't want to leave." But you as the viewer, even if you haven't played the game, you know, well, clearly something doesn't go right here for these two.
Right.
You know, and it was like at this point, like you want them to find you want somebody to find a way to get some semblance of happiness here, you know. And then you're like, I don't think it's going to happen this episode though.
As a matter of fact, I think the only episode where it ever happens is episode 3.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a semblance of happiness.
Yeah,
you know. Bill and Frank.
Bill and Frank is probably the best case scenario in this apocalypse.
Yeah. And that's saying something because he had one of those debilitating conditions that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah. Best case scenario, man.
Yeah. But yeah, the infected does make an appearance. Riley and Ellie fight it off, but in the process, they are both bitten. And they realize that their options are they can either put a bullet in their heads and be done with it, or they can just go crazy together, which sounds like something a 14-year-old would say.
Yeah.
And so that's what they decide to do. They're just going to go crazy together.
I would have opted for the bullet.
Yeah.
That suck if you're Ellie, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, right? Like, we never see, like, in the video game or the TV show, like, what that looks like when Riley starts to fade and turn, but Ellie never does.
Yeah.
You know? That's also so fucked up.
Yeah.
I kind of like that we don't see it because you just have to play it in the theater of mind.
Yeah.
And it's fucked no matter how you put it.
Yeah, because, like, you know, her friend is eventually going to start to turn, and she's going to be like, I feel fine as hell.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely okay. What the fuck? Maybe the edibles is taking longer than, you know? I don't feel shit, dog.
Right, I don't even feel shit yet, man. Let me get another one.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought about something. The fact that the dog in the previous episode didn't attack Ellie. Like, one way that is obvious is the fact that, like, the clickers still try to bite Ellie.
Right.
You know? So, clearly, like, if the clickers don't know that she is, quote-unquote, infected, potentially, then I guess why would the dog?
But the scanner knows.
Yeah, but the scanner knows. And that's where things get interesting, you know? Yeah.
Well, things know when it's convenient to the plot. And they don't know when it's still convenient to the plot.
Got it. Okay.
May the plot be with you.
May the plot be with you. But yeah, this episode is it's a rough one, man. Because we get to see them have, like, you know what it is, man? It's very, 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 very mild spoiler alert for sinners. But it's like what Sammy says, you know, like, before the shit hit the fan, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah, that's probably the case here.
Yeah.
This probably is Ellie's best day.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, if she ever gets Dina to give it up.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And she's like, you know, I think I got a new best day.
Bruh, I'm going to be honest, man. I'm going to be wildly uncomfortable if that's a scene in the show that HBO puts in.
They probably will, dog.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah. I mean, because it's so far, like, they're trying to keep in line with the game, it seems like.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
they're going to be like, our viewers love HLA. It's fine.
had to go back to my 2005 Monday Night Raw days to remember what that was.
The Godfather just appears out of nowhere. Well, you see.
Oh, shit. But this episode ends with Ellie finding some kind of supplies to work on Joel to at least try to get him to some sort of stable condition. Very, very bleak, heartbreaking episode of The Last of Us. One of my favorites.
Yeah. This is a high point for sure. As a matter of fact, like, all of these episodes are pretty damn good.
They are.
You know,
they really are.
We could talk about, like, what's the best and what's the worst, but I mean, the baseline is they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, absolutely.
After this episode is where we really start to move more into the end game here. one of my favorite episodes is episode 8.
Yes.
This is where they run into do these guys have a name? This group of people?
I don't know. That I can think of.
But they're part of the same raiders that attacked
They are.
them. That was like a scouting party for these guys.
Yep.
These guys are fucked.
Oh yeah.
They're absolutely one of the most fucked factions that you run into in the first season. Probably the worst.
They are fucked on multiple fronts. By the way, the episode is called "When We Are in Need," and they are in need.
Oh, faux show.
Yeah, but the reason they're fucked on multiple fronts is, how do I put this? I genuinely am not shitting on anyone's faith and or religion or anything of the such.
But I will be in a moment.
God damn. But in a situation like this, I understand the need for hope. I understand the need for faith in certain things, like faith and hope and the belief that things will get better and that things will make a turn. But I also believe in being proactive and being realistic, especially when the situation is so dire, you know? And so like the whole idea of what David is doing here, I think is just so damning to the people who are in this community, you know? Like now is really not the time for your twisted views on parables or your twisted views on any kind of doctrine. Now's the time to really fucking buckle down and figure out what you need to do in order to press on. And David really is proof that like in these scenarios, so many shitty people survive, you know. He's just kind of the worst.
I'll be honest. Sometimes I kind of wish there'd be a legit apocalypse because I want to look at the Christians and be like, so we're here in the apocalypse. You're still fucking here. So what were you saying again?
And again, I hate to be that guy, but the goalpost always seems to be kind of moved.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I honestly, I love the fact that they explore this because you know that this would be a thing, right? You absolutely know that somebody would go full Waco cult leader.
Yes.
He was probably that before the apocalypse.
Here's the scary thing. Didn't he say he was a school teacher?
Yeah.
And clearly this motherfucker has a thing for young children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, like, there's no telling what kind of atrocities he got up to before the shit hit the fan.
It's like in the have you ever seen like the dramatized Waco show that where Melissa Benoist, Supergirl, plays like the cult leader's wife?
I've just seen the Netflix doc.
Okay, yeah. When they send in like the negotiator from the ATF or whatever, he's like, you know, they've like got reports that like he's fucking the underage girls and shit, and he's like, you know, asking the guy, like trying to get him. He's like, so you know what's like the purpose of you doing this or whatever? And he's like, well, I'm just doing what God commands me. And he's like, man, I think it's weird how many people God commands to have sex with underage people.
Isn't it just bizarre that God always that's one of his main things, you know? He wants you to sleep with all these people who you probably shouldn't be fucking.
Yeah, it seems to be a common thing with the cult leaders.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite things to push.
Yeah, and they're like, oh man, you know, I don't want to do this, but you know how God is.
Yeah, you know how he is. Yeah,
he said, if I don't do this, you know, and all of them.
I think it's really interesting, like, to see, like, obviously, from someone who has this sort of twisted mentality, it's like, you look at other religions and you're like, surely I could pull that off. Like, that's dumb as fuck. Like, I could make up something that make a little more sense.
Yeah.
And you know, David here is he's just taking advantage of people's faith. Because for every argument that the American Christians tend to be hard-headed, there are 10 arguments that they are also gullible. And here we are.
Yeah.
That's how you end up sitting in a fucking empty pub in the apocalypse, starving your ass off,
freezing,
eating your fucking nephew.
Yeah. And to just to make it worse, and like to give some of these believers here in this episode some sort of defense, they're also desperate, and that makes their they're being gullible 10 times worse.
Well, like, obviously, everybody there is going to do what David says. If you speak up against him, you're speaking up against God, and they're going to cut you up, dog. Yep. And he seems to always come up with the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
God provides a way, that type shit.
I think a lot of his, obviously, like, the rumor has gotten out amongst his flock about what he's been doing. Mm-hmm. Because, like, there's that, like, one random person he, like, serves the meat or whatever, and they're just like...
Yeah.
You know?
And, man, like, that shit right there is awful, right? Because close to the beginning of the episode, there's this little girl who's crying because her dad died, and she wants to know when can they bury the body, and there's this awkward pause, and David looks to, like, one of his right-hand men and looks back at the little girl and says, we'll bury him in spring. And, first of all, there's so much wrong with that. Like, what month is this? How far away is spring? Like, a body's not gonna last that long, for one thing.
Well, they're just gonna chuck it out in the ice, probably.
Yeah, well.
But they didn't eat that bitch.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, these people are so fucked. And that's another thing that people think about, too. Like, the technology that we have is the thing that's given us the ability to exist in so many places. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously there were cultures like the Inuits or whatever that lived in, like, Alaska and stuff like that. But, like, their entire culture was around being able to survive in that sort of situation. Mm-hmm. They had, like, roaming, like, camps, but they didn't have cities.
Yeah.
Couldn't build any of that. They didn't have any means to do so.
Right.
And, you could keep a fucking tent warm, not a building.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things that are inhospitable. And even then, if you fucked up and found yourself out in the cold like that, you were dead. Mm-hmm. I mean, people would freeze to death as a common thing back before we had, like, more technology.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, if you're in, like, a harsh northwestern winter, your car don't have no heat.
Right.
Even in the time where we got an automobile, right? If your car runs out of gas and you're stranded in that shit, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
That's it. And in the best case, you're gonna get frostbite, and they're gonna have to cut off some shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's just so many things that our society affords us that are gone here, and a constant supply of food is one of them. There's no store to fucking go to.
Right.
The ability to heat or cool your home. I mean, I can only imagine how bad a Georgia summer would be.
Oh, bruh. Like, and it's just proof, right? That, like, I for multiple reasons, I will never time travel backwards. but like, maybe number, like, 19 on that list is there's no AC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. The rampant racism is much higher on the list.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, if we're going to travel backwards, we shouldn't do it here.
Yeah, no, for sure. If we travel backwards, it has to be to, like, 2024.
Actually, you know what I would really like? I would like to travel backwards to, like, 2019. Mm-hmm. And just, like, enjoy some of that shit that we don't have anymore.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. I want to, like, go somewhere and, like, get good service.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. And you want to be like, man, I know whatever the MCU does next is going to be amazing.
No, I have that. I've been burdened with that knowledge. Unfortunately.
Had it already hit the fan in 2019?
No, that was Endgame.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying I would know.
Oh, yeah.
I would already know, you know.
Oh, yeah, sure. You would already know.
Everybody would be in the theaters watching Endgame just excited as fuck. And, like, I would be in the theater, too, also excited. Yeah. But I'd be, like, looking around at everybody. I'd be like, oh, you poor soul. Yeah. Buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah. You have to go back a few years prior for the Bitcoin thing, you know.
You could still, yeah. I mean, honestly, like if you get a chance to time travel, you just go back to like 2002 and just buy you like $400 worth of Bitcoin,
bruh,
and you be rich as shit. Assuming that the hard drive you have it on,
it still
survives.
Yeah,
that was the problem back then.
Right.
There was no exchanges. You had to keep that shit.
Yeah, I find a fucking way.
Yeah, I don't want this to become the cryptocurrency podcast. I definitely don't want to talk about that shit. So,
yeah.
They stumble upon Ellie, right, when she's out looking for medicine.
Yeah, she's actually out looking for medicine and food.
Yep.
So she comes across a deer, takes a shot. It's a good shot, not a great one though.
Yep.
Because the deer stumbles off and then dies. But when it does, that's when David and Troy come across it, and what's his character's name?
Yeah, his name is James.
Okay, James. Yeah.
Old Troy Baker himself.
Yes. Old Joel himself.
An excellent Joker.
You know, yeah, he's one of the few people who've been Joker and Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It was so crazy that the random fucking guy from Fantastic Four was the Batman and
Leonard from the 2005 Fantastic Four movie voices Batman / Bruce Wayne in Batman the Caped Crusader animated series. How wild is that?
It's fucking madness.
Yeah. And you guys are probably wondering, I know I've seen that 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Who the fuck is Leonard? Well, go back and watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch it. So, I mean, obviously, Troy Baker's IMDb page is
incredibly long.
He was Magni in God of War.
Shit, yeah.
I mean, he played the Joker in a couple things. He's Indiana Jones in the new Indiana Jones game.
That's right. And it's amazing how much he sounds like him.
He really does. Yeah, I mean, he is fucking god tier voice actor.
Yeah.
He actually he does a couple voices in the Old Republic. Nobody like super major.
And also fun fact for you guys, he's Joel.
Yeah, and he also was Bruce Banner in the Avengers game.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That game did have like a pretty stout cast, like Laura Bailey. I think she was Black Widow in that.
Yep. But Troy Baker, of course, I mean, arguably, it may be one of his most famous roles is Joel in The Last of Us. So it was really cool that they found a way to put both him and Ashley in here.
Yes, yeah. Spoiler alert, they both die, so, you know, it'd be really weird to see them in season 2.
Well, HBO's just going to go long enough to where, like, Ashley Johnson can just play Ellie, you know?
Life finds a way.
Man, so did you know that
oh boy.
Oh yeah. Bear with me here. I haven't broke out one of these in a while. So this is something I never noticed, right? But in the beginning of Jurassic Park when they're on the helicopter, do you know about this theory with the seatbelt?
No.
So if you remember, Alan Grant, he goes to grab the seatbelt and fasten it on the helicopter, and he has two female ends. And he makes it work. He ties them together.
Yeah.
See? And it's foreshadowing for later in the movie, you know, because, like, he found a way, you know.
I think people have seen that movie too many times.
Yeah, the director actually has come out and said that they did not have that in mind at all. They just were trying to show that Alan Grant is, like, terrible with, like, all technology.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a little character quirk,
right.
You know, that they do throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But... like, he was like, but that's cool though. I love the internet. Like that you guys, he's like, but nobody on set even thought about that.
See, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it's cool on the, you know, that they admitted that, like, we didn't plan for that. Cause A lot of like directors and storytellers would be like, of course that was the plan.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
To me, it's even better that they just put it in there as a like character moment for Alan Grant than it is to if they were using it for foreshadowing. I'm all about some cool ass foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But it's even better that it's just there as a character thing.
Yeah.
To me. So.
Yeah, I dig that.
But I'll take both.
Yeah, both is good.
Both of them.
So Ellie tries to go and reclaim her deer, and then she sees fucking David and James. Two biblical names on top of that.
Yeah. And David decides, well, you know, we know your friend's hurt. He's going to give her the medicine. Because the plan is that they want to follow her back to where Joel is.
Yep.
So they can murder him. And then David's plan is for Ellie to then join the congregation.
Yeah, I was going to say the commune.
So that he can get his dick wet.
Which I'm like, in that opening scene, I saw at least a dozen grown women there.
Yep. Nope.
And, you know, you come across the goddamn 14-year-old girl and you're like, this is the one.
Man. Like, is David the most fucked character that we meet in the whole first season?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's down to him and, was it Colleen? Is that her name? Kathleen.
Kathleen, yeah.
But I think he takes the cake. Because Kathleen at least wasn't a rapist.
That we know of.
That we know of.
They both definitely needed to go. But yeah, I think he's worse than her.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in a room with either of them.
But he's a sick motherfucker.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Absolutely.
And of course, the cult leader guy is also a pedophile.
Right.
Shocking. Can't tell you how. And a cannibal. And forcing other people into cannibalism.
Yeah. And, you know, by extension, he's also a murderer. Like, he's all for murder if it suits him.
Yeah, I mean, even though he tries to come across as like, oh, well, you know, the flock demands that we kill Joel. They won't allow me to let him live.
But you also say that you call the shots.
Right.
Know? He's full of shit.
Yeah, he's basically like, well, you know, I ain't about to risk an uprising over your friend. Yeah. Fuck him.
But then later on, he's like, you know, like, you suck my dick, I can probably talk to him, though. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
The shit that man say.
Yeah, I can probably talk to him, you know? And then also, he's like, but he a big motherfucker. I can feed, that's a couple nights dinner.
Yeah. So what he really means is that, like, you know, you suck my dick, and I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, but then we still going to kill him.
Yeah, and eat him. And I'm probably going to feed him to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it doesn't sound great on paper at all, actually.
No.
Unfortunately, for all of these people, she gets the medicine to Joel, and she has just a very brief moment where she can be like, listen, if anybody comes down here, like, she gives him a knife.
Yeah, some kind of shiv. Yeah.
And she's like, you know, they're coming looking for you, whatever. And she goes and tries to hide the horse. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't work. And then she actually tries to, like, draw them out, right?
Yep.
At this point, Ellie cannot shoot worth a fuck. That horse gets absolutely rocked.
Yes.
And this is the point where I'm like, Brendan, you can never watch this show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yellowstone opens with something like this happening.
It does. Yeah.
I forgot you've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, I've seen the first season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know you'd seen the whole first season.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty good. Ellie, she is captured, and they do leave a few men behind to look for Joel, you know, because David doesn't really give a fuck if they kill Joel or not. Well, he wants them to, but he has what he wants, which is Ellie, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, when he puts her in the cage is when he starts talking all that freaky deaky shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And this whole time, James is kind of trying to be the voice of reason here. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, let's kill this motherfucker. Either let her go, she's another mouth to feed, or kill them both. Like, be done with this shit.
Right. I love the fact that Ellie, she bites him for one thing. Like she draws him in and bites him, and then like they lay her down at the butcher's table and they're about to butcher her while she's still alive. By the way, and then Ellie, she yells out, "I'm infected," and then she shows them the bite wound.
And this is enough to freak James out.
Yeah, and
he gets turbo fucked.
Ooh, man.
His death is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit was brutal. Butcher's cleaver to the fucking skull.
I thought she got him in the neck.
It was in the neck?
Yeah, because like the amount of blood is insane.
Yeah.
She there's no way Ellie knows that there's like an artery right there, but she hit that shit directly.
She knows now.
Yeah. She had to have been like, holy shit, for just a second. Because, like, that shit happens so fast.
Oh, yeah.
And they got to keep that shit sharp because they got to cut through bone and shit with it.
Yeah. And then we get, if you have a keen eye, you can tell that this is a video game boss fight.
Yep.
And it is. The place is on fire from a Molotov cocktail. And, David was a real bitch to fight in the game, actually. Because, like, you can't do your normal sneak up tactics on him because, like, he's aware he can, like, fucking find you and whatnot. But Ellie gets the upper hand, and she Kratoses this guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, I mean, like, all of her, like, rage and frustration and just anger is poured out on this man, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and there's just nothing left of him.
Yeah, couldn't be.
Meanwhile, Joel is awake.
Yeah.
And these guys are finding out how tough they are not.
Yeah, I think this is probably the first time where, like, first-time viewers maybe get a glimpse that maybe Joel isn't, like, a completely good person.
Yeah, man. Honestly, so when he kills the guy in, was it Jackson City?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Wait, which guy?
Kansas City. The guy that, like, is begging him not to kill him, that, like, basically Ellie stopped him from getting killed or whatever, and then now he's got they basically got the guy dead to rights or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy's, like, screaming out for his mom when Joel kills him.
Episode 4,
Yeah, that one was tough. Mm-hmm. And this one was, like, right there with it. Because he's got the two guys tied up. He's torturing the fuck out of one of them. Which, I mean, honestly, if I'm that guy, I'm glad Joel just decides to kill me. Mm-hmm. But he's torturing him in front of the other guy, which is very effective.
Yeah.
And
it gives you the idea that maybe Joel has done this before.
I'm pretty sure he's done it many times. And he's like, I need you to point to where we are on this map, and it better be the same place that your buddy points to. Joel just needs him to believe that this is what's going to happen. He doesn't need it to be what actually is going to happen.
Yeah.
So the guy believes him, and he points it on the map. And then he kills the guy, and then the other dude's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, the other guy's like, he's telling you the truth.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I believe him. And then he kills that guy with like a lead pipe.
Oh yeah, and that's the shitty thing, right? Like, bro, get something sharp and just He
had something sharp. He chose to beat that guy's brains out.
Because it's like, that like no matter how strong you are, it's gonna take multiple swings to finish somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Joel's pretty strong.
He is. He is strong.
But that's still probably minimum 3-4.
For sure.
Before you stop feeling it.
I was going to say, hopefully after number 3, you don't even feel anything.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. If you're lucky. So those guys really got it fucking bad.
And you just hope that Joel doesn't like get tired or like have to go pee in the middle of while he's killing you. You're like, I'll be right back.
Yeah. You're like Glenn from Walking Dead, eyeball hanging out.
Yeah. Now the good thing is, Joel is gonna kill you and make sure you're dead. So
that is true.
Because he ain't trying to be like nobody's backstory. Like, unfortunately for him, he missed a few, but should have killed everybody.
Yeah.
But man. So this is where the point where Joel goes through and just kind of solid snakes everyone, kills everybody, and then him and Ellie meet back up.
I've often wondered what happened to like the women and children.
Well, some of them probably died in the fire. The rest of them probably froze to death or starved to death.
You know, that's probably why we don't get to see what happens with them, because it's probably not a happy ending.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of them might have made it out and like made it to places like Jackson maybe, or...
Yeah, I imagine that maybe a few of them, if they knew which way to go,
yeah,
possibly could have made it to Jackson. I always say, like, if 20 of them made it out of there and decided to head towards Jackson, maybe 4 of them made it there.
Yeah, and we don't know if the people in Jackson killed them, or let them in, or whatever,
right?
Or they may have just starved to death on the trip because like they were already starving.
Yeah, they were already starving. The weather could fucking kill them. The clickers could fucking kill them.
Yeah, we're not even talking about like the infected and shit killing them.
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah.
Their chances ain't great.
No.
They decided not to buy anything from the store when they set out on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah. And somehow dysentery is low on the list of shit that you're going to die from in this situation.
Yeah, it may not even be in the top 100. Yeah. The fuck?
You're sitting pretty if dysentery kills you here.
Yeah, that's true. This brings us into the finale, folks.
It does. The finale, episode 9, Look for the Light.
Yeah, which kind of makes it seem like it's going to be like a hopeful episode, doesn't it?
It almost does, until you remember that it's the Firefly slogan.
Yeah. Obviously, I love the way this episode opens because we get Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie in the game, and she is playing Ellie's mom. And we actually get to see Ellie's birth, which is a thing we never got to see. And we got to see how this happened. And given this, it's like it should technically be feasible for them to create more Ellies. Just in a super fucked way.
I was going to say, like, if that's the way that we're creating, immune people, like, the population is not going to thrive.
No.
Well,
honestly, theoretically, right? Like, if you could make a male... And then you would assume that maybe that person, like those people's children, would automatically be immune.
Hope so, yeah.
But like that's just such a fucked, concept.
It is, and it's a long. You playing a long game to see if that even works.
Maybe that's like the way the series will end or whatever.
Yeah, something tells me that Neil Druckmann hasn't thought about any of that.
Something tells me he has nothing. Yeah.
What's interesting, right, is that like this watch through that I did recently of this show, it brought something to mind that I never really thought about, and that is Ellie has like damn near the same origin as Blade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywho, so this episode opens up with Ellie's mom. Do we get a name for her? Anna, okay. And Anna is on the run, and she's running back to a safe house where presumably there's other people who she knows that are there, but she's kind of by herself when she's in there. She's very pregnant, and she's very much in pain. Now, when she gets bit, it's like right before, like right during birth, right?
Yeah.
Which is really intense. So it makes you wonder, did that make a difference? Like, would it have been any different had she got bitten before she got into the building? And then giving birth?
I mean, the umbilical cord is still the only thing really necessarily connecting you. I mean, I think it's probably just a situation of like maybe how early she was introduced to it, or maybe like the cordyceps just doesn't know how to react to something that's like in that level of growth. You know what I mean? Because like you don't have all your cognitive function yet, And so I would imagine that would affect the cordyceps, right? Because it can't develop some shit for you that you don't have.
Yeah.
So I assume that has something to do with it. It's all pseudoscience, really.
It is.
You know.
Yeah.
One thing I want to touch on here and is the amazing convo between Joel and Ellie in this episode, and where we finally actually get to see Joel. He actually talks about the night that Sarah died. Yeah. This is the first time we see him directly talk about it. Mm-hmm. It might be the first time he's talked about it.
It feels like it.
He probably told Tess about it at some point.
You think so?
I think Tess knows. I mean, now whether it was like a situation like this, who knows? But we see a little bit more hopeful Joel here.
Yeah, we do. We see a lot more of a hopeful Joel here.
Yeah.
You know, we can tell it's probably been, what'd you say, a couple months easily, right?
Yeah.
And Joel, he's a lot healthier than he was last time we saw him. And he seems to be, he's in a better mood. Like, he's the one who's kind of, he's not cracking dad jokes, but he's like one tier away from that,
And he's joking with Ellie.
Yeah.
And he tells her the story. And she says, I know why you're telling me all this. And Joel says, I reckon you do. And Ellie says, so time heals all wounds, I guess. And Joel says, it wasn't time that did it.
Yeah.
And I really love this scene. And I think the delivery of that line is such a great... I think Pedro Pascal is absolutely the right person to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great scene. There's a lot of emotion there. And if nothing else, this show should have trained you as the viewer to know that if you get something very emotional, there's something very damning that's probably about to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, man. I love that scene in that moment. This is also around the same time where he talks about how he got the scar on his head. He mentions earlier in the season when he's asked about the scar on his head, he said that, some guy shot at him. Thankfully, it was a bad shot, And then come to find out that guy was Joel.
Yep.
He tried to shut his own lights out.
Yep.
And he said that he wasn't nervous or scared. He said that he was ready,
Yeah.
But it didn't work out, and he was still here. It's fucked. I don't know if I would tell that to a 14-year-old. That seems like a lot.
Well, this 14-year-old's already been through so much shit.
Yeah, but I don't need to add on to that.
Yeah, that's true.
It just feels like it would also just put a lot of more pressure on Ellie.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're basically like this person's reason to exist.
Yeah.
And to see Joel finally, like, after 20 years, like, healing, it does lend a lot of credit to, like, why in just a moment he is under no circumstances going to give that up.
Yeah.
Because regardless of how you may feel about how this season ends, it's not that you can't see Joel doing it. There's a lot of other what the fuck about it, but that's not one of them, right? Like, you absolutely can see Joel doing it. Now the question is, like, I mean, obviously we know that they're on the way there and they get gassed by the Fireflies, and this is a hell of a way to greet people.
Yeah. And
then next thing we know, Joel just kind of wakes up, and he's under armed guard in a hospital room. And is Marlene there when he wakes up?
She is.
And Marlene, Joel is immediately like, Marlene's kind of trying to monologue here. And Joel is immediately like, where the fuck is she?
Yeah. Press A, press A,
Yeah.
press A.
Yeah. Where is my daughter? If it had been Mark Wahlberg, where's my daughter? Fucking A, man. So Joel quickly realizes what Marlene is telling him. And Marlene is trying to get there, but Joel is not having it. And I really love this conversation between the two of them.
Yeah.
Because the way that it's played is so, like, realistic.
It is. the problem with this is that Marlene never read The Watchmen. And she should have, because she would have known that you don't tell somebody this unless the plan is already like well past in motion,
If I'm Marlene and I know anything at all about Joel, which she does, I'll sedate this motherfucker until it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Now, you could argue that is just as fucking cruel as what Joel is going to do. I mean, you're basically taking this guy's adopted daughter from him and killing her. Never giving him the opportunity to say goodbye. But if you don't do that, he's going to murder you and everyone else.
Yeah, this is what happens when you underestimate a man, especially a broken man who has finally found some semblance of happiness, and you're trying to take that away.
I mean, he literally has nothing to live for.
Yeah.
If you take her away. So this idea of like, oh, he's going to go along with it because we're going to kill him if he doesn't. So?
Yeah. All right.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
If you put a bullet in him, fine, but you're going to have to do that. That's the only way you're going to do something to her. Like you can't take her out without killing him one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so he don't give a fuck, and he ain't going to let you do it. And that's exactly how it goes, man.
It is. A few weeks ago, or I guess like a week or two ago, when we covered part 1, we spoke about like the way this ends and how at the time you said you had different feelings on the ending of the season. How do you feel now?
When I first watched this, I felt like it was heartbreaking, but also that Joel was you absolutely can side with him on this. But watching it a second time kind of displaced from, the original watch through, which obviously, like, anytime you watch something for the very first time, you're going to have a certain response to it, and then you'll have time to think about it. I mean, of course, I already knew what was going to happen from the game, but it's so much different in the show than it is in the game. Because in the game, like, you're playing as Joel, and it's a struggle for survival, right? Like, you're fighting through here. This ain't a fight in the show.
It's a slaughter.
He's killing people. The one I always point to is like the dude who puts the gun down. Yeah. And then Joel shoots him anyway. Yeah. There wasn't a reason for you to fucking kill that guy.
You could argue that there was.
Well, sure.
There's not a moral reason.
If you're going to kill that guy, then why didn't you kill the nurses?
That's true. That's true.
And honestly, that was his actual fuck up here.
Yeah, because the other ones who described him hadn't have been.
Yeah, if he had killed the nurses, he'd have been fine.
And it fucked up that one of the nurses like, that guy, he was really cute.
Yeah. Honestly, he busted in. I got so excited because he was cute as fuck. And then he shot the doctor in the face. And then I was like, oh no, he's a cute murderer. Anyway, he was really fucking cute. Sorry he killed your dad. He had a really nice mustache.
And like I studied his face so much, he had a scar on his head too.
Yeah, he did. Yep. You know what's weird is we have some of these. Picture? Yeah, we have some of these old Fantastic Four comics here, and I actually think he would have been great. If like they still made movies and stuff, I think he would have been great as Mr. Fantastic.
She takes like a comic book, right, and she folds up to a page of Reed Richards and draws a mustache.
That little mustache on him. He looked like that.
He looked just like that. Oh shit! Oh, that's hilarious.
It's so weird, right? Like Pedro Pascal is obviously Hispanic, right? Mm-hmm. But when he's playing Joel, you never think about that at all, right? No. Like he plays a old, disgruntled white guy so well.
He does. He really does.
Even with the mustache, you're like, this is absolutely an old, disgruntled white man.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe more of you white people should be upset because he's taking so many of y'all's jobs.
I mean, he ain't taking my job. I wasn't going to get a part of his job. Who they going to put? Tom Cruise? Like, I'm good. Give it to Pedro Pascal.
As long as he don't go for any Black Panther roles, we're fine. We're square.
Only white guy who can play T'Challa is Robert Downey Jr.
Now, if they got him to be Namor, maybe I could have did something with that.
Honestly, man, Gabriel Luna would have made a great Namor.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that for sure. Yeah. Anywho, Joel, he does massacre his way through this, and this is something that I really need people who have never played the game to understand. It's like you just said, Caleb. When you play the game, this is like your last encounter, like your last wave, and you as Joel know that Joel has a connection to Ellie, and you as the player, you have a connection to Ellie, and this is a fight and a struggle to gun your way down to save this girl. Like, that's the way it is framed, okay? And the show purposely doesn't put it that way. Like, this is not a struggle for Joel.
No.
You know?
No, there's no struggle at all. It's a straight up mass shooting.
Yeah. And, it's like we said on the part 1 review of this, I feel they did that on purpose because that's the way they want you to feel going into season 2. And one reason why there was so much discourse about when the second game came out is when you play the first game, the way it's framed is just radically different from the way that Neil Druckmann wants you to remember how it was.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait till we start reviewing season 2, simply because the way that people feel about the show now, as of this recording, 2 episodes of season 2 of The Last of Us are out. The way that people feel about that show now, I know that you guys think that the show is going one direction. I promise you it's not. It is going a different direction. If they are continuing to follow the games, and you guys, some of you might be down for it, I can promise you a lot of you will not be. But we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, Joe, he mows down these fireflies, and they make a point of it that you see him shoot that doctor in the head. By the way, that doctor he shouldn't have been resisting.
Right? Stop resisting. Yeah. It'd have been really funny if Joel had been like, "Stop resisting."
Yeah. Here's another fun fact for you guys, because again, I played the original Last of Us Part 1 back in 2013 on PS3. The original doctor was black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, because isn't Abby like mixed?
No.
Oh, he's not?
No, they retcon. He's a white guy.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always thought too that I always thought that Abby was supposed to be kind of like mixed, because I always remember the doctor as a black guy.
Yeah.
When did they change that? Was it in the remaster?
It was I think in the remaster.
Because I played it on PS4, but that must have just been the PS4 version of the PS3 game before there was actually a remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the version I played.
Yeah. If you play like the remaster or like the remake, or even if you play part 2, and whenever you see that doctor, it's a white guy.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just always thought that they intended Abby to be like mixed and she's like light skinned,
No. So hey, maybe some other crazy middle-aged white guy came in and killed Abby's dad, because when I played the game, Joe killed a black guy. I was there. I pulled the trigger.
Neil Druckmann is going straight George Lucas with this shit. And didn't they update the models to look more like Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey too?
So I haven't played the remake, so I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they did.
That's hilarious that they did.
Yeah, like the most recent ones that just came out, I'm pretty sure they changed them.
Yeah, the one that costs $80 but does nothing different from, the remaster.
Because they changed Ellie 3 times. So originally, Ellie was very heavily modeled after Elliot Page.
Yes.
And then there was all the controversy about that. So they just kind of did some fucking Uncanny Valley with it. And then they were like, oh, Bella Ramsey.
I believe it. Joe, he does take Ellie, and he's trying to leave, and he runs into Marlene. And in both the game and the show, I still love this scene here though, because the way it's framed makes you think that it's going a different direction. So the way that it looks is that it looks like Marlene is actually talking sense into Joel. It looks like Marlene is convincing Joel that look, like this, it has to be this way. We never get another opportunity like this to find a cure for this, for the cordyceps or whatever. And it pans to Joel driving in his car, and he's looking very distraught over something he's done. And so in that moment, you're thinking that, oh, Joel left Ellie there. Like he made that hard decision. And he actually left his daughter there. But then we pan to the back seat and we see Ellie's back there just waking up from the anesthesia. And then we kind of go back and forth between like Joel driving Ellie away and Joel carrying her when Marlene is standing in front of him. And we see that Joel actually he shot the shit out of Marlene, and
you just come after me.
Yeah, you just come after me. And he's not wrong.
No, so this is the PC, the most recent one. It looks like the original Ellie model, and Bella Ramsey's face is like smushed together, kind of.
It kind of does, right? It has like Elliot's eyes and nose, but then it's got like Bella Ramsey's cheeks
and mouth and chin. Yeah. And then like the second Ellie's like hair.
Yeah. It's a whole amalgamation. I don't know why Sony keeps doing this. They did the same shit with Spider-Man.
It's Neil, man. I'm telling you, it's Neil.
Just leave it alone, dog.
Because like this is the second one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very different model.
That's an extremely different model.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Weird. Like they do this shit and they're like, do they think that we don't remember what she looks like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, all of these are wildly kind of different.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have the nerve to say things like, "It's just a graphical upgrade," but I got eyes.
And then who?
That's her from the second game. Isn't it?
Yeah, from the remake as well.
From the remake as well?
I think so.
I think that's just from part 2.
Yeah, this is the PS4 part 2 original. Yeah.
I mean, I know that like kids change as they grow up, but man, Ellie went through some shit apparently.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Like that was wild.
Probably the most heart-wrenching thing here, like, it's crazy because you just seen Joel mass murder a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment that at you as the audience really are like, fuck him, is when Ellie opens up completely, lets all the walls down to him, because she knows his story is bullshit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense what he's saying. He's not a great liar.
He's not. Joel did not take a lot of time to think this through all the way.
No, he didn't. It's like he wasn't sitting there going, what am I going to tell her when she wakes up?
Mm-hmm.
He's just probably on an adrenaline high from a mass murder spree.
Yeah.
And, he makes up this bullshit. And so, like, Ellie really opens up to him. She's like, I want him to know he can trust me. Mm-hmm. I know this is bullshit. And so she tells him the whole story of her and Riley and everything. And how, she had to kill her best friend. And that's like the first time that she pulled a trigger on someone. Mm-hmm. And just this really like defining, harmful, traumatic moment for her. And then Joel looks right dead in her eyes and lies to her again.
Yep.
And Ellie fucking knows that he's full of shit.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's an awful thing, to think about.
What really gets me about this, and in all honesty, if they can only make one change from the video game series to the TV show, is Ellie's reasoning for being upset. In the games, Ellie is upset because she could have been basically the savior of the world. She could have been, even though she didn't have a choice in the matter one way or the other, she could have been the catalyst for the cure, for the vaccine. I hope they change that in the show where like she's mad because Joel lied about it.
Or at least both.
Yeah, or both, right?
Like, not only did he rob her, like, him and the Fireflies both robbed her of the choice.
Yeah.
Which is so fucked. Mm-hmm. But then you layer on top of it what he actually did. Mm-hmm. And then him straight up lying to her about it, her confronting him later and being like, look, like, it's literally us against the world now. I understand why you may have did what you did, but like, just like, here, I'm laying it all out. You can also do that.
Yeah.
And
by the way, they forget to put this word in now, but a potential vaccine. Like, none of this shit was guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that, because that is my biggest point of contention with the games as well.
Yeah.
Right? Is that there's so much of this is at least rooted in a type of in science until you get to this part, which feels incredibly contrived. If you don't know what that word means, look it up, because you're really gonna fucking need to know what it means for the next review we do of The Last of Us. Because I'm probably gonna say it 100 times. If you take a shot every time I say it, go ahead and call 911. Just get your ambulance ready. Because there's nothing that would need this, right? Like, there's not an instance of this scientifically where it's like, oh, we need to kill this specimen in order to get this. Like, people get biopsies of their brain now. You can just grab a couple cells, like, without damage. Like, you can do that with, as far as I know, any organ in the body. Like, there's not an organ in your body where you can't just get a few cells and like run tests on them or whatever. If these guys have the capability of mass producing this shit, then they have the capability of doing a biopsy and looking at it. But you're going to tell me that before they've even really looked at her, they've been there, 2 hours tops?
Yeah.
They've decided, you know what? Gotta kill her.
Yep. Gotta perform surgery.
We gotta take the whole brain out.
Yeah.
Which,
maybe the Fireflies are just shit scientists and doctors.
They gotta be, because I'm like, do y'all even have the capability of keeping her brain alive if you take it out? Like,
right. How are you gonna preserve it?
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking brain in a jar. Like, I mean, the science here never made sense to begin with. It's incredibly contrived. It's just like, oh, we need this to happen. We don't actually have a reason for this, for us to put. So, like, Joel being in the scenario is brilliant, but they don't have a legitimate reason for him to be in this scenario to begin with.
Yeah.
So let's just give him a pass on that. You still have this incredibly, like, just the idea that Marlene would go along with it also. And then, you can paint Joel as a villain here all you want. And I mean, it'd be hard to argue that he's not.
Yeah.
He fucking killed these people that are literally just trying to save the world. But you still got to go back to the maybe.
Yeah. People overlook that maybe shit all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe this would have worked.
Yeah. It's very clear. Like, the show opens with the one scientist talking about it, and then later on they go to that specialist.
Yes.
And both of them are very certain that there is no way to make a cure for this.
What about episode 2, Jakarta?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That there's no way, like the guy in the very opening and also the woman in episode 2, the doctor, that they're both very explicit. There's no vaccine. It can't be made. So, and that's with like all the technology that we have in our society now.
Yeah.
a multi-billion-dollar medical system,
right?
You know, with highly trained people who are just biologists,
yep.
Or virologists, or specialize in mycology. You talking about, like, we have there are universities you can go to and you can study fucking mycology and biology for like 8-9 years, and you're gonna tell me that 20 years after all of that's dust, that they got a couple motherfuckers that just know what's up.
Yeah. and that is an excellent point.
Right? And those people that were trained in that society said you cannot make a cure for this.
Right.
But this seemingly one doctor that they had.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like, if he's anything like his daughter, he's a shithead.
Yeah, man. Fuck him. Like, either that or his wife was just a complete bitch.
Yeah,
and it all seeped into the DNA.
Yes, one of the two. One of Abby's parents has got to be a shithead.
Some of those genes got to be incredible, though, because she had to have popped out weighing like 25 pounds of solid fucking muscle.
Yeah.
Fucking brick shit house apocalypse lady.
Right. She popped out looking like fucking Thanos from the neck down.
Yeah, she's just like, oh.
Just fucking crazy.
The doctor's like, what do you want to name her? She's like, get me a cigarette. What the fuck? Did I stutter, motherfucker?
All right, someone get this baby a cigarette. Oh, man.
Hey, man, a cigarette's got to be expensive as shit in the apocalypse.
Gotta be.
You know those motherfuckers went insane. First, people was like, hey, man, you doing okay? You got bit? Nah, bro, I just ain't had a cigarette in like 2 months.
Holy shit. But yeah, I still really love the way that this ends. And, you know, for me, like, while you're right, the pseudoscience does not add up, and it does detract away from, like, the impact of the ending. It's like, if you can overlook that, there's still like a hauntingly beautiful ending to this game, and so much of it just feels like the perfect ending for it.
I'm gonna tie all this full circle right now.
Mm-hmm.
The way that this game ends, while it is very subverting expectations, and it does work in the short term. Mm-hmm. It's just like the Cena heel turn, right? Long term, you guys didn't have a plan for how to make this satisfying.
Yeah.
And that is the thing, right? It's like, people want, ultimately, to have a satisfying conclusion to something. If you're good enough, and this show is, you can get people to say, I'll be along for, you know, the ride with you, right? And honestly, that's the main reason that so many, like, The Last of Us Part 2 still has so many people that love it. Because they're like, oh, well, when Part 3 comes out, like, and I'm just like, number one, you might not ever get a Part 3.
Yeah.
Number two, Part 2 leaves you in a worse place than Part 1 did.
Yeah.
Considerably worse. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we're used to a darker middle chapter or whatever. But
there's no upswing.
There is never going to be an upswing. And if you look at it too, like, I mean, like Born Again, right? Mm-hmm. As much as I hated the ending to that, which we won't spoil here, it's a non-ending. I'm furious. However, as soon as it comes back on, I'm gonna be right there with my remote, because they've earned that, right?
Yeah.
You have convinced me that this is going to be worth it to stick around. Fucking Game of Thrones, bro. Up until the last minute, we were all like, they'll pull this out, because it's like, well, they gave me 60 hours of great TV. I mean, surely they're not just going to fuck that all up. And they don't want, like, everyone to remember this as being, like, the best show ever that sucked at the end. Oh. They're going to be an after credit scene. Just wait. And then, like, the HBO logo pops back up. You're like,
oh, no.
They're going to be like, this is season 9. No.
Yeah. They're gonna say next week's episode.
Yeah, it's not really done. Yeah. This is okay. I guess they're really doing this then. Yeah, I mean,
well, what people also need to understand is that, like, sure, again, not spoiling anything here, but like, if they wanted to make a third game, technically you can pick up some pieces and do something there. But why would you? Like the way that it ends, like I don't see why you would. It just doesn't. It would be like if your house that you built burned down, and then you took the remnants and tried to make another house. You need to just start over, grab some new trees, and build a new fucking house.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I can see them actually making a third game is if they were to either kind of spin off a minor character and make them a major character, like
Tommy.
Yeah,
I say Tommy.
Yeah. So mild spoilers here. If you want to check out, this would be the time.
Yeah.
But either Tommy or Dina could.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, mild spoilers. So check the fuck out if you. Yeah. Dina would be interesting because
we're talking season 2 shit here.
We're talking season 2 shit now. Yeah. So get the fuck out of here if you don't want zero fucking spoilers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dina, she pieces the fuck out at the end of it all, you know?
Yeah, so it would kind of be interesting. It's like, okay, like Ellie gets back and she's gone.
Yeah.
Which, that's probably a season 3 spoiler for the fucking show.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Can you imagine, like, just imagine that playing out in the show. It fucking sucks.
It does, man.
It sucked in the game, but like it's gonna be so much worse in the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then on top of that, right? Like they haven't said anything yet, but like I wonder if are they gonna do the whole Dina's pregnant thing here?
Yeah.
Because if they are, maybe they haven't revealed it yet. Because in the game, as soon as they revealed it, I was like, oh, the baby dad is definitely dying.
Yeah.
and he does. But like I wonder how that's gonna play out, but I also wonder about like the few parts of this game that were so fucking brutal, overly brutal even, but I still can appreciate what they did. I don't know how it works with the people that we have from the show. Not that they're not good, but we need Abby Zilla to do some of the shit to make it believable.
Yeah.
Like when Abby grabs Dina by the face and bashes her fucking head in, and Ellie is helpless and can't do anything about it. Like, I can't see this actress doing that. I can't see Dina and Ellie not being able to take down this Abby.
The thing that I can't, like, the thing that really sucks about it, right, is like, I think that this girl is a great actress.
I agree.
She's just like, and honestly, like, hats off to you. You are a brave soul for accepting this.
She
role.
had
like,
to have known.
She definitely knows. Mm-hmm. Like, you are playing one of the most hated characters.
Yeah.
Like, even people who swear by The Last of Us Part 2 and think it's a masterpiece 10 out of 10 fucking hate that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few Abby apologists.
Right.
Like, there are more Cersei apologists than there are Abby apologists. There are more Skylar White apologists than there are Abby apologists. I would even go so far to say there's probably more Ramsay Bolton apologists.
Jesus Christ.
Than there are Abby apologists. They'd be like, man, his dad was a real motherfucker, He was like, had to have a fucking terrible childhood.
But that is an excellent point you bring up, and I just hope that they didn't sugarcoat that shit for her, because I agree, she is a great actress. That when they were they had the idea to make the Last of Us movie, she was gonna play Ellie.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't think she'd have been good at Ellie.
Really?
I mean, I haven't seen her range. I don't know what she can pull off, but she pulls off fucking crazy brat really well.
Yeah, she does.
Like, she comes across to me, I mean, as like a spoiled rich kid, kind of, even though that's not possible because nobody's rich. She comes across as like a spoiled rich kid who like fell into some like legitimate shit and became kind of an actual badass from it. She definitely gives that vibe where you're just like, she's formidable, but you also are just like, bitch, I fucking hate you. And even her friends are kind of like, bitch, we hate you.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Like, I would really hope that they're gonna change the game up for the show. I mean, obviously, if she were to be brutally killed in the show, I might just forgive it for all of the things.
That's a possibility.
Yeah,
but Neil would never go for that.
No,
he just wouldn't.
No, because I get, like, I'm sure that in Neil's head he's like, people just don't get what I was trying to say here. No, we get it.
We understand, bro. We get it.
Like, but here's what you don't get is like God of War 3 did this way better than you've ever done it.
Yeah. It would be like if Kratos at the end of God of War 3 was like that this cycle of violence isn't worth it, and instead of killing Zeus, just walks away after all of Zeus's atrocities, you know.
Yeah.
That would be like the equivalent.
Yeah.
Instead, Kratos goes through with it and then realizes that he's still fucking empty.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way that they handled it too was like they force you as the player to reconcile with that.
Yep.
They force you to deal with your own anger and see how horrific it can be. But in the game here, and honestly, seems like they're going to go the same route in the show. You never really feel that. Like, it's almost like Ellie has remorse for something that she hasn't done.
Yeah. And it's the over villainizing Joel that also just grates me.
Yeah.
Joel straight up did a horrific thing. And I mean, he murdered so many people. But by the time you get to the end of the second game, it's like, yeah, I understand why you killed my dad, but I won't kill you because it's just gonna perpetuate this cycle of violence. Meanwhile, Ellie, you left a trail of bodies on the way to Abby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so those people don't have families, huh?
Yeah.
So it loses its place. It loses its sense of self when they try to preach this message to you as the player, because they want you to feel for Abby because you play as Abby for a large chunk of the game.
Yeah. And
then when you go back to Ellie, Neil's idea is, well, I'm going to present Ellie as like this unhinged kind of monster who's, on the warpath. But what he failed to think about was that people are like, yeah, Ellie, let's fucking get this bitch.
I'm going to be honest, man. I think she would feel better if she beat the shit out of her.
Yeah. and when you get to like the final fight, it's like you said so many times, like they really should have given the player the option. Like, if the player chooses to let Abby live and walk away, do that. If the player chooses to kill Abby, let them do that.
I guarantee you, man, like the stats on that would be nuts.
Yes.
It'd be like 99.3% killed that bitch, and everyone else is just they loaded their save back up and did it just to see what the difference would be.
Right. Did it to get the trophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rarest trophy because no one chooses it.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's a genius idea for a trophy, right? Is like if they like detect, like, okay, so like you have the option to kill her. If you choose to kill her, it like marks your save in some way where like you cannot get the trophy. Like you have to play from the beginning and choose that to get the trophy or whatever. It's like if you can play through it and still feel like you want to let her live and make that choice, you can get the trophy.
I would do it and get back to the end and be like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. Exactly. I bet a lot of people would.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, I just can't.
Oh, man.
Nah.
Yeah. I keep telling myself I'm going to go back and play through the second game again to see if I still fucking hate it.
It's so... I'll never play it ever again. It's like it'd be like if in Game of Thrones, like after they spoilers for like old ass TV show at this point, it'd be like if like at the end of like Battle of the Bastards, like Sansa just decides to let Ramsay live.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I'm not going to stoop to your level, you know.
This cycle of violence is pointless.
It's pointless. I'm still going to lose everything, but, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. And so it's just like this weird, preachy, pandering message that doesn't fit because everything else that happens in the game, you can't just ignore. And then on top of that, we're still in spoilers. And then on top of that, like, Abby hurts Tommy. Like, now there's definitely no forgiveness.
Abby does a ton of shit that is completely off the rails. But we will definitely get into that more in season 2.
I think they'll calm her down some. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, we gonna see. So far, I'll go ahead and warn you guys. After seeing episode 2, even knowing what was going to happen, I am now prepared to just hate watch this.
Yeah, there's been one scene in season 2 that I enjoyed so far, that I can thoroughly say I enjoyed. And it was a scene that actually wasn't even in the game.
The assault?
The assault.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were like, well, we got to put something worth a fuck in here. I was like, this would have been cool as fuck to play through in the game.
You and I may be the only people on the internet who are not absolutely glazing season 2.
Listen, this season of television fucking sucks. It is insanely well produced, and I want all the people that worked on it to be paid super well and be recognized for their achievements. The story it's adapting already was trash. Craig Mazin is trying to salvage what he can. Listen, we already said we're in full spoilers territory here. We'll expand upon this a little bit more. But, like, the way that Joel gets killed in season 2 is way more contrived than it was in the game.
Yeah.
It would be like if you and I were trying to go to New York City right now with no smartphone, no Google, nothing, no technology, and we were like, we're going to break into a fucking government facility and we're going to kill this one guy that we have a very vague description of. And then what are the odds that me and you are just going to fucking happen upon that guy?
We bump into him.
We just bump into him.
Hey, man, your name isn't Joey, is it? It is?
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. You are kind of cute.
It's like, that's weird you to say. But thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we bludgeoned him to death with the golf club.
Well, no, first is, you want to go hang out with my friends?
Yeah. They're really cool people.
Yeah. Yeah, you have... This is fucking Joel who trusts no one.
So I spoke with a group of podcasters about this episode. All due respect to those guys.
They should be glad I wasn't there.
Yeah. They loved it. And when I mentioned the very point that you were mentioning right now about the contrivances, I used that word my very damn self. I said it's very contrived that Joel would just happen upon Abby or vice versa. And I mentioned the fact that Joel survived on his own for over 20 years, doing whatever he needed to do to survive. Now he puts himself in a situation that's utterly ridiculous. I just don't buy it. And their responses were, all due respect, well, I can buy this because the story needed it.
That's literally the definition of contrived. Like, for those of you who are listening on audio, you can't hear me right now because I'm double face palmed into the desk. Look, this is I'm likening it right back to it. This is just like the Cena turn. Right now, the masses are like, this is a genius thing that they've done here. As a matter of fact, Neil Druckmann in his own fucking interview said, hey, it's crazy because I actually read online that people thought that HBO wasn't going to allow us to do this. The network that killed Ned Stark in episode 9 of Game of Thrones. Yeah, listen, they did that. Game of Thrones from day one was an ensemble show. There were like 10 fucking main characters at the time. Yes, Ned Stark was the most likable character on the show, and Sean Bean at the time was the only like name, really, like big name draw to the show. However, at the time that they killed him, there were like 10 fucking plot lines that were all like really intriguing. The audience had already fallen in love with Tyrion by this point, and with Robb. We thought Bran was going to be cool at this point in time. Like, there was already so many cool things set up, and immediately when they killed Ned, immediately after that, you have the Robb Stark, like, King in the North shit that kicks off, like, the whole next 2 seasons worth of stuff. And if you ever read the books, you won't know that that's going to go to shit. So, and by the time that went to shit, there was already a ton of other things happening. They also were like, hey, the very next episode, they were like, guess what, motherfuckers? Dragons. Like, that'll keep you here. None of that is coming in the next episode. There were like 10 fucking characters total in this show, not main characters. And the only ones that anybody gave a single fuck about was like Joel, Ellie, and then Tommy and Maria as like way down the line from that. That's it. That's all you're working with. And if they follow the games, Ellie, Dina, and Abby are going to be the main characters from now on. People love Ellie. I think Bella Ramsey does a great job. I don't think a single fucking person watching this TV show is going to ever like Abby for any reason.
And the problem is double fold. One, people will not like Abby no matter what the show tries to do. And two, if they do follow the game, the show will try to make you dislike Ellie so your odds of liking Abby are higher.
No, and that does not work.
It doesn't work that way.
And also, the way that she kills Joel in the show is honestly worse than the game.
I said the same thing.
He's more brutal.
So the guys who I was talking to, like, none of them have played the games, and so like their POV was much different from mine. And I also brought up that fact you mentioned too about the main characters, and I said, look, with Joel dying here, I said we just lost one of the main pillars of this show. And I said, sure, we're going to get him in flashbacks, whatever. But moving forward with the main narrative, who's going to carry this thing? And how is it going to work? Like, do you have faith enough, and not just the cast, but the storytelling primarily, in them to carry this thing to where it needs to be? And that was me speaking in code because I didn't want to spoil anything for them. And I tried to tell them that, like, I know you guys think the story's going one direction. I promise you it's going a different way. And, like, it is what it is, man. Like, and that's why, and before I wrapped with them, I said, I really look forward to seeing your guys' thoughts on how this season ends. Because I promise you it's not the way you think it's going to go.
I definitely want to get your thoughts on where you think it's going to end, but we'll save that for the part 2.
For shizzle.
We're gonna get what's his name that's gonna play, is it Ezekiel? Elijah? The guy in Seattle.
Guy in Seattle.
Jeffrey Wright is playing him, isn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He has been cast in this game. I mean, this season.
Yeah, he's playing like the leader that like trained them or whatever.
Yeah. I forgot about that because they announced that a while ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe he'll be really good. I've never disliked Jeffrey Wright in anything.
Jeffrey Wright, he's pretty great in everything he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to talk Oz into watching Westworld.
Good luck.
that show is like a absolute worst case scenario for him.
It kind of is.
It's 11 out of 10 like horror mode for him. So.
That's hilarious. Well, I think it's gonna be it for now. But should we score this?
Yeah, man. We want to do the season as a whole.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the season as a whole.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I think I went first yesterday.
You did go first yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to score this in a vacuum, right? I'll pretend I don't know what's going to happen. I've never played the second game, never heard anything about it, haven't watched any of season 2. Mm-hmm. Just in a vacuum, season 1 as a work of art. It is hard to be pissed off at a show that is this good. And the thing is, like, season 2 isn't going to have any of the really amazing stuff in season 1, because I think season 1 is at its best when it's able to contrast our world and the world that our characters are in. Mm-hmm. Like, through the use of flashbacks, through the use of Bill and Frank's story and stuff like that. And, like, season 2 is never going to have any of that. It's just going to be, okay, we're going to contrast the QZ in Boston with, like, how insanely fucked things are out here. Like, it just amps up how bleak everything is. Oh, man. So yeah, I like the way that season 1 is done, like the way it's shot, the way that it's performed, the cast, the sets, the effects. I mean, there's not a single effect that doesn't look great. Mm-hmm. There's not a single sequence that doesn't look great. Even when CGI is used, it looks good. Yeah. They don't have to shoot it in the dark. Yep. And when they do, it looks really good. It's not like the CGI sucks, so we shot it dark. The casting is incredible.
Oh yeah.
So it's hard to be mad at, like, the little things in episode 9 if you don't know that those little things are actually huge things that are going to just exponentially become worse and worse and worse. Yep. Like it's like you plant a little seed in the story in 9 and it grows into this fucking enormous death tree.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can pull all of the terrible decisions that they're going to make in the future back down to this one minor terrible decision that they made in the end of this season. But if I don't know about any of that, and that's how I'm choosing to look at this, I think that this season is a 9 out of 10. It is so hard to overlook all the care and the excellence with which this show was produced and executed. I'm chalking all of that shit up to Craig Mason.
Yeah.
And I think Neil Druckmann actually only had primary writing credits on the first and the last episodes. And I think he actually directed the finale.
Oh, okay.
And it feels tonally very different from the rest of the show.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, man, I'm gonna stick with the 9 out of 10. Stick around and see what I give the second season.
Oh yeah, I think that The Last of Us season 1 is one of this arguably the greatest video game adaptation ever. It is so well done and so carefully thought out. I mean, it's just so meticulously well planned, edited, shot. I love the score and how they take the score from the video game, but then they amplify it even more for the show. I love the casting. I mean, there's just so much I love about this show. Like they truly took, one of my favorite video games that I've played in the past, 10, 12 years, and then made it something that's arguably even greater. I just think it's fantastic what they've been able to do. I do have my gripes about this season, and most of the same gripes that you have, actually. So it's not perfect, and like you, I struggle to kind of to score this thing as its own season of television, and not thinking about how the small changes they made do play such a huge factor in season 2. But putting that aside, I think that this is just a tremendous season of television. I think that whether you're a video gamer or not, If you just like good storytelling, this is just a phenomenal season of television. I don't have a problem recommending this to damn near anyone. It is bleak, yes, it is dark, but there are moments of love and hope that are sprinkled throughout this, and that's enough to get you through it. I don't know if I can say the same thing in a few weeks from now.
Yeah.
With that being said, I score this a 9.3 out of 10.
You think it's a better video game adaptation than Twisted Metal?
Yeah, guys, so...
I actually, you like sent me down a rabbit hole with that one. I was like, damn, man, I think he's right. You know, I think this is probably...
hopefully, whenever they do the God of War thing, hopefully that'll be a run for its money, you know?
Do you think we're ever going to get a proper Baldur's Gate show or movie?
No.
I think...
It's so lore-rich, I don't know how.
I mean, honestly, I think any of the major streaming networks would be up for it, and I think Wizards would love to have it. But I think for Wizards of the Coast, like, they're like, okay, well, if we do that, we need to turn that into profit. So, like, I think if we get that, if they really push for that, they want to have, like, a Baldur's Gate 4 ready to roll, like, around that time.
Yep.
And folks, they are going to make a Baldur's Gate 4, and it ain't going to be Larian that makes it. And good God, I'm worried about that. Maybe they can talk to those people that made that just put out Expedition 33.
Yeah,
that was their first game.
I just downloaded that game.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for that game.
Yeah,
maybe like they could talk to them and be like, "Hey, for how much money would it cost for you to do this thing?" And I mean, I'll be honest, man, like. If I'm anybody, even these guys, even though like Expedition 33 is getting like rave reviews, it's like, no, dog, I'm gonna pass on trying to follow up Larian.
Yeah, I said, who wants to follow Larian? Yeah. What they just did.
Get BioWare to make 4, and then call us up for 5.
Yes, that's the move. You lost me in the first half, but then you got me back in the second.
Yeah. It's like I need you to lower the bar. Like, dude, how are you gonna follow? I mean. Not an opinion, the greatest video game of all time. Like, by any metric you could possibly, other than, like, sales, in which case Minecraft is the greatest video game ever made. But, like, if you want to look at, it's the only video game to ever win Game of the Year from all of the major award shows.
Yep.
Including the ones that are, like DICE, where it's, like, just developers can vote in that. You know, no game has ever done that. Has ever swept before. And like the game now is somehow even better than it was when it won all that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean the other problem there too is if you ever make that movie or TV show, you have to get the voice cast. Because anyone else and people will be like, fuck this. Absolutely not.
It's gonna feel blasphemous.
Yeah. Yeah, because...
speaking of which, I think Shadowheart's voice actor, she's in Expedition.
Shadowheart and Lae'zel, Jennifer English and Devorah Wild are both in Expedition 33, but that's actually not the person I thought you were going to bring up.
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox is in it as well, yeah. So, the voice cast for that game is off the chain.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah. I cannot wait to get into that for sure. Yeah. I mean, there is some hope in our lives. That's not this show. We're going to be back next week with actually some really cool shit.
Andor.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Andor. I'm probably going to watch those a second time because the first time I watched them, I literally was just sitting there fanboying the fuck out the whole time, just nerding out. So I need to watch them again with my podcaster glasses on and take some notes. But I'm really excited to see what you think about it.
Same.
Your pacing concerns from season 1 are gone.
I had a feeling they probably would be.
Yeah.
Because they have to in order to cover the kind of ground they want to.
Yeah, it's... I think that they are handling the time skips excellently because a year has passed from season 1.
Yeah.
and then we get these 3 episodes, and then another year is going to pass. So it's like we're getting these little like glimpses in time of like really key events, and and like this idea that you kind of the show is going to give you enough to where you can piece together what's been happening.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for it. So really hyped to talk about that next week, and then we have another MCU entry, and I will dare say the most hyped MCU entry in a long time is coming out next week. I want to talk to you about a rumor off mic. It is to the point where I don't even discuss it on mic. So
juicy.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely got to hear that. So with that being said, homies, we have regaled you guys for almost 3 hours. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Our passionate rants and ramblings about all things from The Last of Us to The Last of Us Season 2 to the video games to other video games to pro wrestling and everything goes in between. This has been a blast and a half. Junior is still so excited. But that's going to be all for now, guys. We will see you again very soon with some Andor and Thunderbolts. But until then, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.